nothing to say, we just stare at the camera in silence.
Okay.
How many seconds, Raph?
Sorry, Raph. Sounds like you're in charge of this boat today.
It's true.
Yep.
You did the intro yesterday so well that, we've just decided you
Was it
do
well?
all of our intros.
Did I do a good job yesterday?
You did such a good job yesterday.
Or
You captured
was
the
I-
true spirit of the channel.
If you know, you know. That's all I gotta say.
I've heard. Jesus.
Oh, are we trying to make it less horny on here?
I mean, I don't know. Raph's playing more romantic, so
I am
It's true.
romantic. Spoilers! Spoilers!
sorry, spoilers. I didn't describe them. You get to describe your totally mysterious, very cool character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know nothing about this. I'm excited.
About you don't
should
know much
be.
about my character?
I mean, I don't know who your lover is.
Oh.
Don't worry.
I know that I go to you for advice on mortal sins, but that's all I know.
And I have a lot to say on that topic, actually.
Well, you're so good at it.
So good.
I need someone to talk to me about drinking and fornication. I need to know how it works, for savior purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
Understand the flock better, surely.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Steph, I know we didn't talk about this. Do you want me to do the intro?
Yes, please. I did not
All
prepare
right.
one. I was too busy
No.
looking at my notes, panicking.
No worries at all. Hi, we are live from the apocalypse. We are a not-for-profit TTRPG studio that raises money for aid organizations and good causes. Recently, that cause has been medical aid for Palestinians, but as this is Extra Life Weekend, we are briefly changing what charity we are donating money towards to participate in Extra Life Money and to raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So all of this is for the children.
Yeah, just
have
fucking
fun.
grip it,
And
baby.
that timing
Slop
was
that
beautiful.
down, dude.
Thank you so much for the donation. I'm pretty sure we've already gone over our goal, so it is really exciting that all of this is moving us even beyond what we had hoped for when we set our goal as a team to do $12,000. So we appreciate each and every donation, and we will continue to do work to serve different charities and aid organizations around the world. There are a few things that probably none of you who are new to here will necessarily jump into, but we do ask that you donate rather than subscribe. If you do have an Amazon Prime sub, you can throw that our way. That basically goes towards helping to support the costs of running the channel, art that we commission from artists, and anything above that goes to the charity that we are platforming. However, we do let you know, as you might have seen earlier today, that if you subscribe, Brennan Lee Mulligan will kill one dog for every month that you have been subscribed. That was 74 dogs earlier. Please do not contribute to that number. Instead, put that money towards Extra Life and helping to support the hospitals. But with that, I'm going to throw it over to you, Steph, to introduce the game and then ask us for character introductions.
Hi, I'm Steph. Oh my god, Sid. He saw the ceiling fan and panicked. Hi, I'm Steph. I will be running today's Monster of the Week game, We Gather the Dark. It is set in the 1930s in a small town in the Dust Bowl, and they're just trying to survive against monsters that come in the storms. I will be your storyteller today, and let's see. It's been so long since I've started the introduction like this, so I will throw it over to the players so they can tell you who they are and what very cool characters they will be playing today.
I'm pretty sure, McMahon, you are up first, and we are thrilled to have you with us. Let's see what happens when I click this button.
Oh, it's me. Hi, my name is Chris. You also call me Chris McMahon as well, because there's so many Chris's in the world. Go by he, him. And I am playing Elliott Maxwell, the Chosen, rail riding champion of goodness. You know,
Also
Sad to
known
be
as
here.
Mad Max.
Also known as maybe a little Mad Max, just a smidge of Max. Not so much mad. Maybe sad. Sad Max.
All right, Aaron, you are up next.
Oh, I'm there. Okay. Hi, I'm Erin. I use she, her pronouns. And I will be playing Peggy Hatchett, a farmer's wife whose husband has been mysteriously disappeared for about 6 months now.
This is fine. This is so fine.
Don't worry about it.
Who would be worried about it? All right, Raph, I think this is you. We're gonna find out.
Yay! It's me. It's Raph. I don't know if you could recognize me under the hat and the wrinkles. But it's me. I am playing Angela Stone, the pararomantic, lonesome watcher, lover of monsters, and a granny with a gun. Although I don't know if I actually picked gun for my weapons, to be totally honest with you. I think I may have not.
You need to fix that if you didn't.
Gun is more of an aesthetic choice.
Vibe. It's the vibe of granny with a gun. What did I choose? I didn't. I'm about to choose now. Wait, no, I did. Anyway, we'll get to that.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're not going to need weapons. It's going to be fine. And last but not least, I am JD, he, they pronouns, and I am playing Father Kane, the local priest to our town here, serving the congregation, trying to keep people on the Lord's path, and having a lot of trouble doing that. Except for Elliott, who is determined to learn something from me, and I'm not sure what.
I'm just a good church-going drifter, just showing up, putting my cents in the collection plate, and just here for the Lord.
Lot of churches on the rails.
Rail church, mobile church. It's the new thing.
Are you putting them coins in, or are you taking them coins out?
You go to like super hell if you steal from the collection plate.
Hell's subjective.
It is.
We'll see.
We'll find out.
I suppose
Find
we'll
out in
see.
RP.
Is that what you just
Find
said?
out RP. Oh. Stuff could happen. We don't know. We're gonna find out. Alrighty, and I think with that, if that's all the housekeeping, JD. Okay.
Wait,
I mean, I shouldn't say this, but I will remind you, if you've been on this channel for a while, maybe accumulated some channel points, you can redeem good stuff and you can redeem not so good stuff.
It's available here now?
Oh, this doesn't affect me, so that's fine this time.
I'm too far away. I've blown it all on a season of Secrets and Shadows. So.
Of course.
We'll get there.
The game where that's always been the pointless time to spend those points because you all do such terrible things to yourselves that I don't have to.
Can I spend channel points to get Sid and Nancy on camera? Is that an option?
Oh, I will try. Hi.
We can redeem that at some point. Yes.
Redeeming them.
If they're in grabbing reach, I will try. Right now, they're being menaces. He's a little feisty from the ceiling fan because he's not used to that, so he's got to run around a bit. They think the demons are out. Okay. Great. So we can start with the demons in this game. Alrighty. So It's the 1930s, amidst the Great Depression, when the dust storms started choking their way through the eastern states. It's about halfway through the 1930s when they finally seemed to nest in the Great Plains, with poor ranching and poor farming had made the ground a dry bed of devastation. The black blizzards, as they're called, appear without warning, kicking up the dead fields and whipping dust through each crack and crevice in the farmlands. Towns shrink, families flee west to California. The folks that remain, is it out of pride, stubbornness, desperation, just absolute lack of funds? Who can say? Who are we to judge? But today, the sun is shining brightly over a small farming town, smaller than it had been, of course, but with the onset of the Depression and the Dust Bowl. A number of shops and homes have boarded up windows, but the ones that are still open are easy to tell. They're the ones with newspapers plastered over the glass to keep the dust out. Those are the houses where life remains. It's a small town, not terribly far from the train tracks, but not within sight of them. You can hear the occasional whistle echo across the plains. And it's known for the ridges around it, where when the sun sets, the glow of the light turns them red. This is the town of Ruddy Ridge, and these are our survivors. As we move through the streets, you hear the distant cry of the crows. Not as many, of course. Dust seems to coat the houses, the windows, barely any light, though the Bartlett General Store, Mrs. Bartlett always makes sure the cloth flowers in the window box get dusted after every storm, just to have a bit of color. And outside of the town, where what farmers haven't fled to California remain, we see, well, I suppose I should let Peggy Hatchett describe what her home looks like.
Right. So Peggy Hatchett's home is it's a small farmstead. There's, one bedroom farmhouse built in the next to the fields. And then there's also a barn and a small guest house that is, used to put up relatives. If we hire on work for a season, anyone can stay there. And currently is the home of Elliott.
And what is Peggy up to this morning?
Peggy at this point is well, what time of year is it actually?
That is a good question. I would say probably the vibes. Let's go autumn. Usually would be harvest time, but such as it is, it's bleak this year.
I think that then Peggy, she is trying to get anything that she can from the meager ground, and if not, she is sort of tearing up anything that isn't bearing any produce. It's not enough, but it might be something to sell. If not, she can sell. She can get clippings to plant again, or if there are any seeds, she can recover something from this year's harvest.
Good. We'll say what remains of Peggy's farm doesn't seem to have an issue with the hares and jackrabbits that hop around the prairie. Good for her. Might be unusual to some, but, she's just doing so much on her own, but she knows why that would be, given certain things. And maybe it comes to mind now when she hears 3 familiar taps on the fence post nearby, which you would know would mean certain someone you made a deal with is coming by.
I'm a little busy right now. Could you come by later?
That's why I knocked first, Peggy, but I suppose I could come back shortly.
Oh, it's not like I'm getting much from this anyway.
I mean, I didn't want to point that out, but I was trying not to be rude now. I just wanted to make you aware of something. And what do you notice the most about this mysterious deal maker? About their features? What stands out to Peggy the most?
I think it is so they appear at the moment to be a person with a sharp suit, pork pie hat, and a pointed goatee, and they seem sort of off, but you couldn't put your finger on what exactly is wrong with them.
Of course, he takes off his hat because, he's polite, of course. It's just like, I just needed to bring your attention to something that is kind of encroaching in your town. Have you noticed any stragglers lately? Anything out of the ordinary?
No unusual ones.
Mm.
There's always migrants, seasonal workers, but nothing out of the ordinary.
I'm feeling this past few months, it's like a little itch in the back of my mind, but nothing too out of the ordinary for the times have been happening, but feels a little like a bigger itch, and you don't want that spreading. If you note anything off, Peggy, I'd like you to let me know. Because I'd, hate to see some interloper interfere with this space, it makes things harder for everyone that lives here.
Well, I could more easily stop interfering if I knew what they'd be interfering with.
That's the problem. I haven't found them yet, so I don't know what they want. But they're lingering. Something in this town they want. Maybe it's all of y'all. Maybe it's just as hungry as you are. Who knows? Maybe it's something else. Doesn't feel well. I guess it feels more like you. Well, that would be rude to you. Not like you personally, but you're all right after we made our little deal. It feels similar to that. Not quite human, but not quite me.
Well, if I find anything, I'll knock for you. Only polite.
I appreciate that, Mrs. Peggy. You're always so charming to talk to. Just give me a holler now. He tips his hat and then walks by, and as he passes the fence post, it's like he was never there. Just vanishes as if there was a door there.
Mrs. Peggy. If there was anyone who'd know, it'd be him. And she's gonna go back to trying to get what out of the harvest what she can.
Even that Peggy is mid-harvest, where would we find Elliott around this time of day in this season?
Probably maybe doing some miscellaneous work around the farm for Mrs. Hatchet. I'm living there and I have to earn my keep. Maybe doing some repair work on the house or the guest house. Try to do my best to keep the dust out.
Always appreciate it, I'm sure, especially with her being alone here. Not that that's something everyone knows. How long ago had Elliott come to town?
About a month ago, he rode in on the nearest train and made his way here on foot.
And he's been living with Peggy that whole time?
Mm-hmm. Staying in the guest house.
Of course, as is usual with farm hands.
Mm-hmm.
And does Elliott have a particular sense for things that are off?
He gets feelings sometimes, strange tastes or smells, maybe things out of the corner of his eyes. A little more when there's other stuff when he sleeps. So we'll talk about that later. So,
So given how long he's stayed here, would he have gotten an unusual ping from Peggy's guest, or is that just something that he knows happens and he and Peggy have discussed and is like, don't worry about it?
Well, stop me if I think I'm wrong, Peggy. But I believe we probably would have come to an arrangement. This is someone you have a deal with, and well, I haven't intuited that this is the entity I'm here to deal with. So, Elliott would let it pass for the time being.
Yeah, sure. Just a brief hint of seems like a coal fire on the wind, and then it's just gone. Nothing unusual for the Hatchet farm.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that's probably not the only thing you notice is there's the sound of horses as you see a rider coming up along the road, which is not unusual, but not common either.
Elliott will stop what they're doing, kind of make his way over to the rider. Mrs. Hatchet.
Yes.
Someone's coming up the driveway.
That can't be good. I've had my only visitor. And she is going to throw down her tools and walk up the drive to meet whoever is coming in.
Yep, and you would recognize the mid-20s sandy-haired figure of the deputy Howie Bell, who the only deputy in town under the sheriff. Fairly new to the job, not the most imposing figure, but he does his best and he's polite, and no one really had any complaints about him. There's more important things to complain about these days, but he kind of stays on his horse and just kind of like tips his hat politely. It's just like, Miss Hatchet, I'm so sorry to bother you. This time I know you're really busy. There was just some talk in town. I was talking to Elias, because I talked to Elias because he's like always like fiddling with the stuff, and he's got those goggles that are really good with the dust storms, and he's trying to make more of them for the town with them. He does the stuff with the glass and the old bottles. He's smarter than me. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, and you're a busy lady. Have you by any chance come in any recent contact with George? You would know George Toller is the banker in town.
George, no, there's not been really cause to go down to the bank. The harvest hasn't been too great. We haven't had anything to deposit.
Yeah, his work's been really boring. That's why he's been getting reading all them pulp books up at the bank. Sorry, again, sheriff's told me to be more direct. No one's really, Ralph was the post office man. Ralphie's been saying he hasn't seen him since it was like Friday, which is like normal because, he's not open it on the weekends. But I said I would ride by the house and he's not answering. So there's just a little, maybe it's nothing. The man rides off to hunt, but he hasn't been seen in a few days. So I just thought I'd check here, see if he'd, for whatever reason, stop by. But it sounds like you and your farmhand, Miss Maxwell, has he seen him?
Can't say I have. No, haven't seen Mr. Tollers.
Right. All right. I mean, he could be hunting. Yeah, I'm just gonna make my route around town. I haven't checked with Miss Angela yet or Father Kane. I'm sure if anything bad had happened, Father Kane would have come to us immediately. But but yeah, I will. Thank you for letting me know. I will let you get back to your work. Won't take up any more of your time. Puts his hat back on. It's just like, and again, if
Deputy.
you see him, oh yes,
How is this any different than anyone else who's left? Half the town's gone.
yeah, but his stuff's still here. His horse is still here. So
Half
how'd he
the
leave?
town's gone quickly.
Yeah, but did he walk? Like I said, it could be nothing. But honestly, I don't have much else to do these days, so I just figured it'd be fine to get out and just check. And again, maybe it's nothing. But like when I was looking through the window, nothing seemed disturbed and the horse was still there. I gave it hay, some water, but yeah, I mean, why not check? I'm not doing much else. Sorry. How's your husband these days? Is he still taken well?
He's been ailing because of the dust.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that cough, the dust pneumonia. It's well, if oh god, is this insensitive to ask? Do you want me to send Father Kane up to say a few prayers for you, or I could just ask him if that was too far to me. I could just ask him to say a prayer for you at Mass on Sunday.
I'm sure he can manage to say a prayer from the church.
Understood, ma'am. Of course. It's so lucky, Mister, that you came along, Mr. Maxwell, to help her out, her and her husband out in these times of need. It's getting harder to find folks like that these days. But okay, I'll let you be on your harvest time, and I will see you when I see you. And hopefully, this is just nothing and me wasting my time.
Well, hopefully you're able to find Mr. Tollers, Deputy.
Yeah, I'm sure it's nothing. Nothing much happens around here outside of the storms, and yeah. But it's good to see you, folks. You take care and be safe.
Rodwell.
Always do. He gives his horse a little kick and he rides off down towards in the direction of Angela's farm. And where is it that we find Angela at this time of day?
Angela doesn't really bother with crops that much anymore. She's out on the prairie shooting up some groundhogs. And I think you see, like, slung over her shoulder, she has two. She's probably heading back. She does have a gun on her side.
Of course, yep. Makes for, once you pick the bullets out, makes for good eating. So, times being what they are. She's having her daily hunt and, well, with the sun being high, cast a shadow, and suppose the shadow's been kind of helping out a little bit if she needs it. You just kind of feel a slight tug on your skirt in the direction of where the next critter is.
Whips it out, shoots at the groundhog and says, "Thank you, darling. I think two's enough for us tonight, but suppose we can always salt them and dry them out. These damn groundhogs are looking more like squirrels nowadays, don't you think?"
The shadow kind of, you get the familiar, like, sort of, like, vibration that lets you know, like, oh, laughter. It's been around long enough. You know what its laughter is like, even if you don't hear it. And it just kind of, you feel the cool shadow just kind of, like, oil up your shoulder and kind of, like someone leaning their chin on your shoulder, just kind of looking over. And just get the sense of agreement of, like, two's good.
Angela kind of, she tucks her gun away and instinctively puts her hand where she feels Amos is.
And Amos just kind of stays there for a moment, but then kind of like you feel a shift in the energy. The cold gets a little sharper and a slight tug on your hair, pulling your head in the direction of the road, where you hear the distant sounds of horseshoes of a horse galloping up the road. Because Deputy Howie did say he was on the way.
All right. Suppose we have a visitor. Should I put on some groundhog stew, groundhog loaf? We don't got much to go around, but maybe a groundhog tea.
No! Oh, God.
Gotta use it all.
Gotta use it somehow.
Can't be wasteful now.
No, it can't. You can make stew last for days. I guess you can do the same for tea.
And bones make a delicious broth.
You feel your Amos kind of like hum in agreement of like good broth, like the sense of like yes, because while Amos doesn't seem to need to eat food, they do like to kind of hover in the steam over the cook pot.
Yeah. When she cooks for two.
Aww.
But she usually just keeps the other one for later that day.
Yeah.
Groundhog cider. That's good.
As you're pondering all the practical uses of groundhog in all its variety of ways, them slung over your shoulder, see Hatley kind of rides up, takes off his hat, just like, Miss Angela, it's so good to see you again. Sorry to bother you. Oh, good hunting.
Deputy, if these groundhogs don't get any bigger, that horse might be next.
I mean, Sugar's a good horse. He just kind of gives
Sugar
her like a
sweet.
swish. She's the sweetest horse I've ever had. Yeah, Sugar's just kind of like locked on a little bit over Angela's shoulder in the way of like, I can see you. She doesn't spook. She's seen Amos before, but she's just like untrusting. She don't look too sweet right now, but he's just giving her
teasing you,
scritches.
Deputy. What can I do you for?
Sorry. Yeah, I need to get better at recognizing that stuff. Sheriff keeps telling me. George hasn't been seen since the bank closed for the day on Friday, and he didn't look like he packed up his house and left anything. Have you seen him come this way by any chance? On foot? Because he left his horse at his house.
Nobody really comes down here except for, well, you and Father Kane every once in a while. But you said he left his horse.
Yeah. Which is weird.
Now, horses make a good stew.
Now, Angela...
If he's not going to use it.
Angela, someone might need that... If he's fine, he might need that horse, man. I'm going to try to find him. If you see him, you let me know, and don't get any ideas about that horse until we know for sure where he is, okay?
All right, Deputy.
I appreciate
I'll let you know
it.
if I see George, but I don't think anybody's visited the bank for days. I sure haven't.
I mean, that's usually the case, but, you know, they haven't closed
These great plains are wide and free. Perhaps he went off on a little walk, got himself lost.
Oh, God. We need to get a search party then. Or something. You know, well
good luck with that.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I'll be on my way. Just kind of like flustered and just kind of rides off, gets to put his hat back on. But so just on his way.
Should have offered him some of that groundhog. Well.
Speaking of Father Kane, would he be on his way for a daily visit with Angela, or is he busy at the church or elsewhere in town?
I think Father Kane would be on his way to a visit with Angela. He has spent the morning completing tasks around the church, making sure that everything is as clean and set as it can be for the next service. He has gone on the rounds, visiting those around the town and checking in to see how people are doing. And it would be natural that he would be making his way to spend a bit of time with Angela, with her being so isolated and wanting to make sure she's doing all right. He does not do that with Peggy, given that things are a little tense there on multiple fronts. So he would not be heading in that direction. He would make sure that he's just going straight to Angela's.
Just giving that a wide berth on the road. Just avoiding that lane completely. So it's probably as you're nearing up to Angela's that Deputy Howie starts riding back towards the town. Just kind of pulls up short when he sees you a little bit of distance away because he doesn't want to try to kick the dust up, which seems pointless these days because there's dust everywhere. You're not going to avoid it. And he's just like, Father Kane, good to see you.
Deputy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm running into everyone real fast today. Sorry to bother you. I was just making my rounds because no one's seen George since he closed the bank for the day on Friday, and it's like Sunday, and his house isn't packed up, and his horse is still there. So there's just a little like Ralph was a little concerned about where he might be, or rather, like Elias told me Ralph was concerned, but Ralph didn't come to me because Ralph is just fucking stubborn. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. My
it's
mama
all
would
right,
have
my son.
said.
You do not need to apologize.
It's
Just
the
say
heat.
5 Hail Marys and everything will be fine.
May I say them on the ride back to town?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course,
Thank
the
you,
Lord
Father.
is everywhere. He is always listening.
Yes, Father, I will keep that in mind. He's starting to sweat a little bit. It's just like, yep, yes, indeed, Father. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Please don't tell my mama. She's going to be so disappointed. She found out I cursed in front of a priest for no reason. She always says, if you're going to curse in front of a priest, you have to have a valid reason. I did not have one. So I will say my 5 Hail Marys. But yes, no one's seen him. Ralph is very stubborn. So, of course, Elias is the one who came to me because, Ralph isn't going to do something. Elias is going to tell me about it. But any sign of George?
Who last saw him?
Elias made it sound like Ralph might have seen him last. Ralph wasn't at the post office yet, and I didn't want to bother him at home during breakfast time because, Gertrude says that's family time. Do not interrupt in family time. And, we don't know if something bad has happened yet. So it seemed like from what Elias told me, Ralph last saw him after the bank closed Friday night. They were going to go try to hunt some like prairie dogs, but then that dust storm came in and they headed home. So, I mean, they were on their horses at the time, and his horse was back at his house, so that must mean he came home fine. He didn't get caught in the dust. God forbid, but it's just weird that no one's seen him. Not too weird, but have you seen him?
I cannot say that I have, and while you say there could be so many explanations, you look concerned, Deputy.
Well, the fact that the horse was still there is concerning because, like, why would, like, yeah, he lives in town, but, like, if you're going to leave, you're going to take your horse if you're not in the town, right? Like, it's not summer, but it's still warm. And he's not a young man. He's not an old man, but he's not a young man, so.
It would seem that further information would be important and that it may be necessary to send out a search party.
What? Okay. No, you're right. That's the responsible, correct thing to do. All right. I will go make my rounds throughout the rest of town and see if anyone's seen him, and if not, I suppose you'll be hearing from me and the sheriff real soon about a search party.
That sounds very reasonable and responsible, Deputy. Don't forget about those 5 Hail Marys.
I won't. Absolutely not, Father. Thank you so much for your forgiveness, and I will earn it on the ride back to town.
Actually, add in at least 2 Our Fathers.
2 Our Fathers?
After what you had said about how your mother told you to never curse in front of a priest, without a good reason.
Oh, that's disrespecting my mama too. You're right. I've earned that. Thank you for reminding me of my failings as a son. I will repent for them on the way back to town. Thank you so much, Father. Don't want to let her down.
Go in peace.
You too, Father. Amen. Or amen. Yes. He just, you hear him start to murmur, Our Father, as he rides off back to town. So do you make your way to Angela's still?
He does. He's almost there, and now he can ask her if she has any further information or knowledge about many things, including our missing person. And so he will walk up, and if he does not see Angela, he will knock on the door.
Yeah, you see, like, you hear some shuffling on the inside of this, like, shabby little shack. And Angela opens the door. You see she has a little knife on her, and it's covered in blood. You see behind her a table. She's just cooking up some groundhog. And she looks at you up and down and says, Father Kane, what glorious sin have I committed to warrant this visit?
Well, Miss Stone, that would depend on where that blood comes from.
Well, it ain't come from no plant. Are you hungry?
And he pauses. He looks beyond to see the preparations that you have been making and says, You know me, Miss Stone. I do not eat often. Earlier, I ate earlier. That looks delicious. Delicious.
Why don't you just sit down and I'll fix you a plate. And if as we chat, you get a little peckish, you got something to pick at. And of course, if Father Kane sits down, she immediately puts a plate of probably some like groundhog scraps and pulls out her only little fine flask of whiskey and pours him a cup and herself one as well.
And he raises the cup in a toast to her and says,
It's 10 a.m.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Always delicious. And like, as you throw it back, he throws it over his shoulder.
So, what do you got for me today, sir?
Well, I had wanted to ask, why do you read books?
Well, I suppose when you don't have the knowledge nor the know-how of something, picking up a map, some sort of guide to the prairie, cookbooks, things like that, they help enrich your life. We have a long life and a lot of time. I know a lot of it goes to scrounging and surviving, talking to folk and trying to keep these damn four walls up, but those moments in the night, in the early morning, when the sun starts setting, them quiet moments, when you're done hunting or working your crops, sometimes you crave a little freedom. Books can help with that.
He looks very thoughtful, but then says, "But idle hands are the devil's plaything. Isn't that idleness?"
Idle hands for holding the book. But our minds aren't idle while we read, sir.
That
I
is
suppose
an
unless the
important
devil
distinction.
is very specific about physicality, in which case, sir, the devil is making a plaything out of you right now.
That is a very valid statement. Thank you, Miss Stone. I hadn't thought about it that way before.
Eat your groundhog.
And I suppose the priest's daily lesson on existence and existentialism continues much in the same way for about an hour or two, much as
He does not eat. I just need to be clear. He does not eat a single bite. He does the child thing of moving it around on his plate, being like, "Yes, I am totally eating this."
I think near the end, at some point, Angela eats her food, and when she finishes, or the conversation comes to a close, naturally, she just stands up, picks up your full plate, takes it, and starts kind of puts it away. So,
I think there is a moment at that point where he does say, "Miss Stone, you must often be expecting company. I realize every time I've visited, you've made enough food for two."
Amos has never once acted moved around when Angela has visitors, especially in the priest's presence. That's mainly her one visitor.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I think Angela's quiet for a little bit. And she says, "Well, I suppose I'm just always expecting you, sir. It's nice to have some company out here. Sometimes, like you said, idle hands and all, tend to cook a little bit extra."
And Father Kane accepts that response and simply acknowledges, "I appreciate your hospitality."
Not much left of this town if we didn't have hospitality, sir.
It's about an hour or two later, as you're finishing up your meal with Angela, and Peggy and Elliott are probably in the process of, pickling what they want to keep, drying what they want to keep, preparing what they want to sell of their harvest. That it would be Peggy and Elliott farm is first, where much more sweaty, little frazzled Deputy Howie comes riding back up the road, and since they're being inside, he'd knock on the door again. Just be like, "So sorry to bother you. I know you're busy. The sheriff's decided he wants to form a search to see where where George Toller has gone. I was wondering, since you two are here, and then Miss Angela's just up the road, if you three would be. Oh, the priest. Yeah, Father Kane is with her. The four of you, if you would be willing to do a search of the farm area on this part outside of town. If you need me to accompany you, I can.
No, I think we'll be all right. I've been meaning to speak to the father anyway, so just let me grab an effect or two, and I'll be good to start looking.
Of course, I hate to trouble you all. I know it's busy, but I really appreciate it. Yeah, we're trying to spread out as much as we can with what people we have.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Again, I greatly appreciate your help. I can ride ahead and let Miss Angela know you two are coming, if you'd like.
Oh, we're going there. Well, I haven't had
safety in
groundhog in a
numbers.
while.
Mm-hmm. Miss Stone can be a little jumpy, so you just
I will
let her know we're coming.
Let her and the father know.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for your help.
Mm-hmm.
He will ride off to Angela's as probably Father Kane is getting ready to take his leave for the day. Opens the door in. Howie's there, ready to knock. Just like, oh, Father. Startled me. Hi. It's like, you knew I was here. Sorry. Not time for jokes. Sheriff's getting a search party around, and I was wondering, well, I've already stopped by Mrs. Mrs. Peggy's place, Peggy Hatch's place, and Mr. Maxwell there. If since you're here with Miss Angela, if the four of you would form a search party in these parts and check out the farm and areas. I know most places on this side have been abandoned, but in case something happened, he got hurt and maybe took shelter in one of those places, if the four of you would kind of check him out and see if you see any sign of him.
And Father Kane has a slight expression at the mention of both Peggy and Elliott, but quickly hides that and says, well, I understand that this is a question for myself, and I would imagine Miss Stone as well. Let me step back, as this is her place, and
of course
she should be the one to welcome you, and steps back so that Angela can move forward to talk to the
you
deputy.
step back. Angela's right behind you, like hand on her hip, aka her gun. Deputy.
Hi,
I'm starting to reach my limit for visitors today.
I'm so sorry. We're doing a search party. And I was asking, I'd already spoke to Mrs. Hatchett, Mr. Maxwell, and if the four of you, since you're already out here, wouldn't mind doing a little search of the surrounding farmlands to see if George might have gotten hurt and taken shelter at one of them places.
Well, if the sheriff ain't doing nothing, then I suppose it comes down to us town folk.
He's on the other side.
Safe, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, since you guys are already out here, he just figured since he's doing the other, well, he's dividing up how everyone's going to be searching. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be searching too.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I am too. You said I'll let you guys get ready. Mrs. Hatchett and Mr. Maxwell said they wouldn't need me to accompany you so if you agree with that, I'll be on my way to help with the other townsfolk.
And where are we meeting them?
I think I've sent them up to meet you here since you're beyond them, and then the farmlands
on my property.
Here. They can stop on the. I didn't say for them to trespass. I was sending them up this way. Was that
Deputy? I'm just fooling with you. You really. Y'all youth are real wound up tight.
I'm sorry.
Things are bad, but things aren't that bad to have a little humor around here.
I'm really bad. I'm really bad at noticing that. Everyone tells me. But yeah, I will get better at that as I try to get better with everything else on my list. Thank you, Miss Angela.
Howie, it's going to be all right. We'll find him.
Yeah, I'm sure it's nothing. He'll tip his hat and quickly be on his way before he embarrasses himself further.
Incredible. I think there's a moment where Angela, before everyone arrives, where she kind of turns to Father Kane and says, "If you don't mind, I should probably clean up a little bit if I'm going to have more visitors."
Of course.
She closes the door with you on the other side of it, and I think she's going to go into her room and light a couple of candles. And she turns to face her shadow and says, "Now, darling, I know we've seen a lot of people today, and I hope you're all right. This can be a little bit overwhelming for you."
Just kind of feel a little like nuzzle around your ankles of like a, yeah, it is a lot, but you're here vibe.
Now, them Great Plains, I mean, a search party could last a few hours or a few days. And we're going to be around some folk for a while. You remember Peggy and that kid. Peggy's nice.
You feel that slight singular tap that means agreement. I'm just like, I remember.
I just want to let you know, if at any point you're feeling tired or antsy, just give me a, quick notice, and I can run circles around these fools, so I can just give ourselves some alone time if you need it.
And Amos, you just kind of feel the cold like slink up your back, and almost like you were wearing a shawl made of coal. Just kind of feel them kind of draping around you in a very comforting, like appreciative gesture.
All right, let's go find ourselves a lost banker. And she blows out the candles. That's outside.
I imagine it's not too long before Peggy and Elliott have made their way up to meet Angela and Father Kane up at the farm. Is there anything they wanted to do before they headed out?
Elliott just grabs his bindle, with a strangely thick stick and oversized cloth part.
Nice.
Peggy has a shotgun slung under her arm.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Love it.
Gotta chase away those varmints.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did.
Did.
No,
Get some dinner.
Pretty sad varmints these days.
And what is this meeting like between the four of you who don't seem to interact in groups all that much?
Peggy, it's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Kid.
Miss Stone? Oh, Father. Was that Father Kane? I see.
It is, Mr. Maxwell. It has been a while.
Since last Mass.
Yes, yesterday.
If we have some time on this hike, I'd like to talk to you maybe about a bit of scripture or two you had quoted yesterday. I had some questions.
Of course. But we all need to remember, as wonderful as it may be for us to be reconnecting, that the purpose of this is to find a missing person. Oh, good afternoon, Mrs. Hatchett. How are you?
I'm well, and don't be so hard on the kid. After all, we're all only human here.
Of course. That is a very important thing to remember. And Mr. Maxwell, I genuinely appreciate your commitment to scripture and asking questions.
Mm. Well, I was never really raised religious growing up, but I'm trying to do my best to do right by the Lord.
The Lord appreciates it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Lord is not going to help us find George, so.
That's right. That's right, Miss Stone. Keen eyesight is going to help with that. Shall we?
Sure. What's the way?
Are we walking?
I mean, I could ride double. I could ride double with someone, but I don't really have a horse. So
I know that if you had a horse, you would have had it by now. So
horse is a little sticky for me. Sticks in the teeth.
Makes great broth, though.
Take your word for it, Miss Stone.
Lots
I learned
of
so many things when I'm around you.
Mm-hmm. Are there any spots Mr. Tallers might have gotten stuck in? Any abandoned farmsteads still standing, old caves or mines or anything? Just not as familiar with the area as all of you, so.
Most of the farms out here are abandoned. There's only a few holdouts, and the rest people took up and left.
Maybe took shelter from a dust storm in one of them. Might be a good place to start checking some of the abandoned farms.
It would be strange for him to be this far out without his horse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of us like to use our knees and legs. Why would the Lord give these to us if it weren't for use, right? So, how about we get to it?
Miss Stone, sometimes I feel confused because you brought up, are we going to walk? But now you are saying it is likely he was walking. And I will ponder on this. But these feel like
chew on
discrepant
that. Just chew on
statements.
that. Go ahead. That's the wisdom of being old.
You do impart much wisdom.
Peggy, you hear 3 knocks nearby. No one else seems to hear them.
Peggy sighs and looks around casually to try and see where if he's appearing or if it's just in her head that she's hearing it.
Yeah, it's not appearing. You just hear a whisper, like just behind your ear, just like vultures.
Well, I hate to be morbid, but if, God forbid, something has happened to him, we could look for scavengers. Easy to see vultures up in the air.
They'd probably be all over Mr. Tollers if that was the case. There's not much else for them to eat out here.
They also make an excellent stew, so I say we look for them vultures.
Oh, I haven't had the pleasure of vulture stew before.
Well,
vultures, you do realize they dissolve meat. Vultures are not good stew. I don't know what vultures you're eating, but they're not good eating.
Peggy, sometimes life is hard, and all you got is a single bullet and a single vulture.
Life's never been that hard.
I'll let you chew on that one. How about we go ahead and...
As long as it ain't vulture.
You four head out on foot in the afternoon sun. Not as hot as it was in the morning, thankfully, but still a bright day. Oh, bad stuff. Thank you, Mac. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I'm going to have to store that away. Okay, I'll keep that in mind as we head out. Most of the farms around these parts have been abandoned to the dust. There's a handful of holdouts still, more to the east, closer towards the town than the northward direction you're heading in. Smiths are still there. They, which is just an elderly couple. Their children have since moved away. Not really fit for walking around in the sun these days, but they haven't seen George. They're keeping an eye out. Other farms boarded up windows, the ones that thought to board them up in case they came back. Others, windows just broken with dust, but it isn't long until Peggy in particular can hear a familiar call of vultures. And if you follow the sound, they're over. You can see them circling over what was the Jakobsen farm before they left about, 4 months ago.
Well, here's a good place to start as any.
Probably circling something, I guess.
Indeed.
It's fairly obvious what they were circling. The instinct might be to go toward the house, but the barn doors are open and you can see what were once a pair of tidy boots still attached to the wearer, sticking out. Beyond that, it's hidden by the frame and the darkness of the barn.
Is there any way to open the doors and get a little more light in there?
Yeah, you could certainly open the doors.
Elliott's gonna walk up and kind of grab put his bindle down and grab a pair of the doors and kind of throw them back.
And the light coming in, there was a distant faint light from the back barn doors that were kind of open part way, but with all the light now coming in from where you're standing, you can see the familiar body of George Toller, lying spread out on his back on the floor, on the ground in front of you. He was a man known for being tidy, graying hair, but he always kept his guns clean. You can see those same guns now, dusty, bullet casings on the ground, kind of a distance from his hand, like he ran out of ammo, just lying on his back. The goggles, the glass goggles that Howie mentioned Elias was making around town for dust protection, kind of shattered and kind of askew. So you can see dust covering his eyes and dust in his mouth as well, as he's just lying spread on the ground.
Oh.
Can I reach down to see if there's a pulse? Maybe there's a little pulse there. I'm a hopeful woman.
It's nice to be
gotta
hopeful.
Be hopeful in this bad world.
Sadly, there's no pulse. He is quite dead and cold.
You're not allowed to eat him.
Life hasn't gotten that bad, Peggy, but...
Are there any visible wounds on Mr. Toller?
Oh, let me see. Nothing visible. There's the occasional, it looks like scratch. He's very dusty. No visible wounds, though.
He said there's like dust in his mouth. Like, is it spilling out, kind of?
Kind of.
Do we know, like, maybe how long he's been here based on like the amount of dust on him? Or is that something we'll have to...
I would say roll to investigate a mystery. Whoever wants to do it.
Defo.
I would like to take a roll as well, I guess, since I'm examining the body too.
Feel free.
Yeah. I'm looking in his mouth. Oh. What is investigate a mystery? Is that plus sharp?
Plus sharp.
Plus sharp, yeah. 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 Ooh. Oh, okay. Whew. Purpose plus 0. That is a 7 for Lil ol' Angela.
You get to ask one of the questions on the list.
Get you, pal. Let me pull up that list. I'm gonna ask. Investigate a mystery. There's no visible wounds, you said, right?
As far as you can see. I mean, he's dressed.
I'm gonna go with what is being concealed here.
Okay. Being concealed here. So there's no visible wounds, but Angela starts patting down the body. She can feel that there's definitely not visible, but it feels like the ribs had broken. So not something you'd see, but more you'd feel. So if she starts patting down his chest area, she can be like, that's not moving the way it should be moving. That's not right. And as you're leaning over to that, you can kind of notice what almost looks like a little, it was hard to see it with the dust and all, but a little like dried blood in his mouth as well. So Angela starts to get the sense it might not have been just the dust that choked him. It could be a rib had punctured his lung, which would require great force or great impact to do.
I relay this to the group, saying maybe he got in some sort of fight.
I think at this point, Peggy is just going to casually knock 3 times on the edge of the barn door and say, is this the sort of weird we were looking for?
And you hear that familiar whisper in your ear. Oh, yes, this would certainly qualify as that type of weird. Do you need my help looking into it some more, Peggy?
Let me try and look into it on my own.
Of course.
And can I try to do try to use magic?
Absolutely.
And try and basically do a thing that is beyond human limitations and basically like try to see if there's anything hidden here through magical senses.
Yeah, I will let you roll for that.
All right. That is a, let's see, 8 plus. Oh yeah, I'm really weird. That's 11.
Oh, Very good. So yeah, on 11, the magic works without issue, so it goes off smoothly. What does it look like when Peggy uses her magic like this?
I think that she basically just sort of places her hand over his face. But anyone who is looking closely will see her eyes, and including like the sclera have darkened into just fully black.
Ooh. Spooky lady. So as sclera turned black and you place your hand over his face, you're trying to reach out for whatever magic might have been here. It's very it comes to the senses first. You feel it on your skin, like the familiar like grit of the dust blowing in the wind as the storm kicks up. And you know the last storm was that Friday. You get the feeling of the coldness, the lower temperature. But you also hear this thump and crash. And you hear George grunt as he hits something and then falls down. And what hit him makes the hairs on the back of your neck like go straight up. This is not like your devil. That devil, while does not have the best vibes, they were still like vibes that were like that made sense. This energy feels very wrong. Like it's like someone mushed things together that should not have been mixed together and made something that is just no one likes that, basically. And whatever it was hit George hard enough.
There was something in the dust. Something that shouldn't be.
What you mean in the dust? Like some sort of locust or bug?
Bigger than a locust. And less definable than a locust.
How do you know that, Mrs. Hatchet?
Women's intuition.
Steph, I had rolled an 8 on my earlier investigate roll.
Perfect.
So,
what question did you want to ask on that?
I would like to ask, kind of examining the body and maybe knowing that there was some kind of other entity here. I would like to ask, where did it go?
Where did it go? So you're looking around the body, and the nice thing with the barn, it does provide a shelter, even with some of the doors open. But they weren't open that wide, so you can see, looking around the body, towards this, right under where the loft was, you can see a portion of the loft broken. And it almost looks like something had jumped down from the loft, because you can see 2 bare footprints in the ground that embedded enough with some impact. And they almost look like a human footprint, but it's a little off somehow. Like, foot doesn't curve right. It's almost a straight line, and it looks like there are claws where the toes should be. And then you see like a fainter line of it walking toward the back door that had been slightly left open, but they almost look like they're starting to shrink. as they get to the door. And if you open it outside with all the dust, you lose the tracks there, but you can see through the brush, there's some broken parts, like someone had pushed their way through. And it's not a clear sense, but with the way it's facing, it would be in the direction of the town.
Well, whatever got him, I think. And Elliott will kind of point up to the loft, jump down, left these almost person-shaped prints, and looks like they wandered out the back door in the direction of town.
We didn't run into anything on our way here, so
Yeah, must have
whatever it
happened
was.
earlier.
I think this happened Friday was the last dust storm.
So it could be that it's hiding in town or somewhere nearby.
So what, we take a cast and play Cinderella?
I do not understand that reference.
Oh, okay, I'll show you sometime. I'll tell you about it.
We can tell you all about Cinderella.
Well, you don't have fairy tales where you're from, preacher?
I cannot say that we do, though. I did have a long conversation with Miss Stone earlier about the importance of books. I only read one book, the good book, but I am learning.
Not the best book, but it's all right. Should we say a prayer for the poor fella?
You feel Amos tense behind you.
Ruh-roh.
And you feel a tugging sensation in the direction of where Elliott had gone to look out the door. Hi, Sid. It's just a fan. It's okay. He's panicking again. And Elliott, since you're there too, it might be hard to see right away because it's small. But Angela, Amos is very much... You get a sense of confliction with the way you feel them pulling around your ankles, because it's almost like wanting you to see something, but also kind of like conflicted of like, but not wanting you to move closer to what it's sensing.
Interesting. Can I then use... Would it be something magical?
Could be.
Could be. Okay. Can I use Spirit Touched? It says your experiences have made you sensitive to the supernatural. When you sense magical things, roll plus weird, and then there's like consequences, I guess.
Yeah, I would say roll for that.
Yeah. That's not bad. Plus weird. Where's my weird? He's a +1. I'm a pretty normal lady. That's a 10.
Awesome.
And then it says on a 10+, you can sense them fully.
Wonderful. So, approaching the door where Elliott is examining the footprints.
Definitely staying like a
behind
bit away.
Peering over him.
I think giving myself not just room with Elliott, but also room, since I had sensed that like trepidation from Amos. I want to respect that. They know best in these circumstances.
And as you're looking for it, and with the 10, it fully reveals you feel that same wrongness that Peggy felt when she did her magic. It is not like Amos at all. There's no comfort here. It is very much raw and almost electric feeling, but like it almost makes like your bones jitter with this, just like almost your body knows this is wrong. This should not be here, which is weird because you don't see anything obvious. There's nothing like looming in the grass. There's no like ominous scarecrow that's not a scarecrow or anything like that. Your eyes are drawn to the brush at the edge of the fence. And you almost miss it because it's small. But there is a hare sitting there under the fence, but it's not quite a hare because it's got horn. Well, one horn. The other seems to be broken on its head. And you realize you almost didn't see it, not just because of its coloring, but because it's just so still. But it's looking at the barn, and now that you've noticed it, it is looking right at you.
Well, we got ourselves a little rabbit infestation. And although usually they do make a good stew, I don't think I would like to put this thing on the table, if you know what I mean.
Well, that's fair. It's probably not one you want to eat. Do you make any movement at all to take an action, to alert the others, or are you just in a staring contest with this?
I think I'm kind of just staring at it and just slowly reach out and grab Elliott so that he doesn't make any sudden movements.
Go ahead.
Out the brush. It's very still. You see it?
Elliott will casually, slowly start scanning the brush line, looking for what Angela's trying to point out.
With Angela's guidance, you can spot that critter just eyes locked on Angela. Sit upright.
What? Broke? Huh.
Recognize that thing?
Yes, Steph?
What has Father Kane been doing while everyone's been doing their things?
Well, Father Kane was, of course, giving this poor man last rites.
Oh, of course.
And so he has been focused on the body, aside from when Mrs. Hatchet did her thing.
Okay. Was there anything you were doing with the body or the area? Anything you were trying to sense? Or were you after the last rites, of course? Last rites have to be first, so.
I think I would like to use magic.
Mm-hmm.
There has been talk about things feeling off, things feeling wrong. I think he would like to get a sense for whether this energy is from heaven or hell or somewhere else.
Yeah. Roll for magic. We'll see what happens.
All right. What is my weird? Let's find out. Probably not high. I'm not a weird guy. I'm
You're a
I'm a
priest.
I'm a priest. I'm a normal guy. Yeah. Nope.
Normal
That's,
human.
that's not happening.
Oh.
That is a 6.
Okay. What
Mm.
happens with that on a 6? Glitches. That's fun.
Yeah, 6 isn't great.
No.
That's a failure.
Nope. Okay. Well, I will say the magic draws immediate unwanted attention. You don't realize that at first because you're inside the barn. Angela and Elliott, however, see the ear twitch on this hair, this horned hair, and it opens its mouth and hisses very loudly right at you. And at that same time it hisses, George Toller's hand lurches up and grabs Father Kane by the throat.
Oh.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
This is fine. Everything's fine.
If Peggy's here, she's immediately going to try and kick some ass.
Yes, let's roll.
Ooh, not good at this, but if I can do it,
Yeah,
it's good.
playing to find out what happens.
Boy, oh, that is a... Four.
Okay. What happens on a 4 on kick some ass? Nothing
good.
Good.
You don't
Yeah.
need bad stuff. We're doing bad stuff to ourselves. Like,
Yeah, I wonder when I'm going to need to use that. Okay, where does it say what happens on a...
that essentially is just like any failure, you get to take control as the GM over
She
what
also,
happens.
if this gives you ammunition for what she's doing, when it jerks and grabs him, she immediately, one of her hands transforms into this clawed gauntlet, basically.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that does spark up, but in trying to take a swipe at George, the body like rolls up to a sitting position. He's not moving, right? It's like almost like he's got strings attached, like a marionette. And he's still got Father Kane by the throat. Father Kane, you can see what Peggy is doing, but Peggy just ends up kind of like gouging into the ground of the barn as George is keeping Father Kane with one hand and reaching for one of the fallen guns with his other.
Ah.
Would you like to aim and fire?
Absolutely. I think at the sound of Peggy smashing up
you
the
would
floor,
hear that. Yep.
Yeah, I think I think Angela's focus is pulled from the rabbit outside, and then to the being a strangled father. And I think she's just gonna pull out her gun and aim at R.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Roll for it. Let's see.
Plus tough.
Tough old lady.
Tough old lady. Tough old lady. Okay. That's 7.
Okay. Okay. So you do inflict harm on each other. Love that.
Yeah.
So you do take the shot. And it does blast into the arm like you intended. However, not before he gets the gun in his hand. So as he was starting to aim the gun toward Peggy with the bullet in the arm. It jerks back unnaturally, and a stray bullet clips you across the shoulder.
Damn.
So you take 1 harm.
No.
But his gun arm is not doing so hot. So
Okay. Did he let go of the father?
I will say, yeah, he loosened his grip enough that if the father wants
Daddy!
Father.
Oh, God. Yeah.
While this kind of is taking place, Elliott would like to scramble to where he dropped his bindle nearby the body and pull the handkerchief off it.
Yeah.
And a bunch of shit comes out everywhere, but you see on the end of that handle is a big silvery axe blade.
Hell yeah.
He's gonna come swinging kind of low, try to catch George's corpse with the axe.
Roll for it.
Mm. That is going to be a 8.
Okay. So again, you inflict, that would be kick some ass, inflict harm on each other. So you do lob, not a clean cut through, about halfway through the corpse. And
if it matters for effects, that is also silver and magic. The axe as well. So
okay. Silver. I'm trying to remember if a magic effect adds anything to the dice, but I don't suppose it would add it high enough to be a 10 since that was an 8. So I will say, given that it is silver and magic, it does make him like seize up enough that he fully lets go of Father Kane.
All right.
But he does flop backwards in ways he never did in life, because 1, this is a corpse, and 2, there's now an axe halfway through his spine, so he is not as bound by physicality as he once was while he was alive. And so he swings that fist back and I would say like clubs you right in the nose, so you take 1 harm from that.
Oh, okay.
But he also has a harm, so
nice.
He's not looking great.
I would like to deal with this problem, because I am not liking this problem that is
just
unfolding.
Grip it, baby.
Thank you for the donation.
Thank you.
Also, as a note, one of my moves is invincible. I always count as having 2 armor. So while that blow, it definitely rattles me, I'm able to kind of pick off the damage.
You wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah,
alrighty.
I forgot about armor.
Did you have armor too?
I have a piece of jewelry given to me from Amos that provides me 1 armor, magic, or protects me from the powers of a specific sort of monster.
So it's
magic.
This
wasn't magic. It was
it was a bullet.
Okay,
he wasn't using magic to throw a bullet. So, but
no,
good to keep in mind.
Aren't magic yet.
No, there's something magic around, so you'll probably need it.
I would like to spite George.
Oh, just fucking be like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, so your body and divine weapon always count as a weakness against the monsters you fight. Your unarmed attacks are 2 harm, intimate, hand, messy. And so I think I will, of course, be rolling with tough to kick some ass, but rather than like kicking ass, I think you just see Father Kane put his hand on George's forehead. And we'll see what happens as I do that. Okay, so that is a 7, which could be worse.
It could be a lot worse.
I mean, that's an 8. That's an 8, but that doesn't help that much.
Okay, well, still, it could always be worse. So, and you said this was with tough?
Smite.
Smite.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And so that is 2 harm.
Yeah, so You're rolling with tough, so we would use the tough rules for that roll then?
I think so.
Mr. Magic. Yeah, okay. Yep, so that's fine. You haven't taken harm yet. So he does reach into his belt for a hunting knife and takes a swing at you. And I would say he probably like flips you in the hip. Doesn't hit anything vital, but you do take a harm from that. But
so I don't.
No,
What happens in that moment is as Father Kane does that, and essentially it looks like flame erupts from his hand. His entire body is encased in torso at least, is encased in what looks like armor made out of a material you have never seen. It is too bright and vibrant and colorful to line up with anything you have seen before, and the knife just kind of dings right off of it.
Nice. So given that that does 2 harm, what does it look like? Well, you described it, the flame hands on the face, the body like seizes and lurches forward, not at you, but it doubles over and coughs up the dust from its mouth, just retching like a surprising amount of dust. It's like, oh my god, how much dust was in those lungs? And once it is done, it collapses, lifeless as it always was, but the strings have been cut and he is no longer a threat for moving. He's
immediately grab his pistols.
Nice. They're good ones. He took great care of his guns, so they are very nice guns. Yeah, 2 guns and a hunting knife.
Yeah, dead man don't need those.
I do think as his body collapses that it is essentially engulfed in flame.
Oh, so it fully burns, or is this like a metaphysical flame?
I mean, it's a metaphysical flame.
Okay. Cool. What color is the flame?
Blue.
Blue? Nice. So the room is lit with this blue, ethereal, metaphysical like flame. Does it char the body, or is it more like
it's more
you
like
can't see what
it takes it where it needs to go.
So it just poofs the body somewhere else. So you see this blue flame engulf it, and it vanishes.
Peggy turns to you, and she is fully like, horns, claws, like fully a demon. And she says, "So, preacher, do we got a explanation for why we immolated the body after we found it?"
Strange things are happening here, Mrs. Hatchet. Vultures could have gotten him.
No shit, preacher, strange things are happening.
If I may, I think we might want to maybe try to get that little horned hair that had something to do with this outback. And then
It's
we can
gone,
talk about
by the
the
way.
body.
Fully vanished.
Yeah, go to look out the thing made up. I'm pretty sure that thing made. Miss Stone, would you say you saw it? Pretty sure that thing probably made the body start moving about.
Elliott, do you have eyes?
Yep.
And you're focused on the rabbit?
Well, it shrieked and it had horns first off, and it shrieked like that, and then the
Ain't the
body
only
started
thing here
moving.
that's got horns.
Oh, I'm very much aware of Mrs. Hatch's situation, but Mrs. Hatchet isn't making bodies move around. Try to strangle the good father.
You're aware of the good father situation then, too.
Not until this moment, but There's bigger fish to fry. Seen a lot of strange things, Miss Stone. I've learned not to ask too many questions. Just focus on my job.
Unfortunately for you, the father does love asking questions.
Ain't it just the thing?
I just love learning.
And not
And I would love to
books.
learn what the hell is going on here. Let me preface this by saying I don't have any ill will toward you or whatever it is that y'all may be. But I am curious about what you want, why you're here. I feel like, I mean, after that situation, I didn't know you were also of the...
That situation is, I try to help where I can. And try to avoid unnecessary cruelty unless it absolutely comes to it. Right now, it seems like we're investigating the same thing.
Can't fault you there. My father? Are you seeking something? Because unless God changed the way he approaches his army, I don't know. I don't know if the church has some sort of new rites or something, but like I said, I have no ill will. I'm just curious about your intentions in this town and in this situation.
Well, much like any priest, I was sent here to take care of a flock. That
you're
is
gonna
my purpose.
save my soul then.
Your business is your business, Mrs. Hatchet, as long as it does not endanger or hurt anyone. It is a part of a greater plan.
The man downstairs seems to think so too.
Does he? Interesting. And he then actually shifts his gaze to Elliott.
Father?
Mr. Maxwell, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're not supposed to be here. The end of days is coming and you are not a part of it.
I mean, I'm here, aren't I? May as well try to do some good while I am here. It's tough times all around. We have to help one another out. Maybe I'm not meant to be here. That's fine, but I'm not going to stand around while this kind of thing happens.
Let's hope that your presence does not take us from where we need to go.
Fair. Well, good thing for you. I have a way of knowing where I need to be.
And Mrs. Hatchet, of course, I will pray for you as I pray for everyone.
Oh, don't do that. It itches.
Mm.
Are you so sure about that?
I'm just giving you a hard time, preacher. You can pray all you want.
Maybe a joke would help lighten the mood? Elliott will kind of look around at everyone and smile a little bit. Don't think they make a cream for that kind of itch. And he like smiles awkwardly. He's like, will the tension break?
You feel Amos's laughter reaction, Angela, at that.
Amos, don't sink so low.
Kind of brushes up against you in the shrug gesture.
I'm sorry, Miss Stone. This must be a lot for you to be taking in.
Father, in my old age, I've seen a lot. I suppose I'm just surprised this was all so close to home. More than I was expecting. And truly, I think the most offending thing is the fact that you call me a damn sheep.
Well, I'm sure we could settle all of this over some groundhog and a drink, but a critter's probably making its way away from us, and unless we want someone else to meet Mr. Toller's fate, figure we should probably get working on tracking it down and getting it boxed up or killed. Mrs. Hatchet, you may want to powder your nose before we leave, just in case.
She sighs and then slowly pushes the horns back into her head, and as she does so, she turns back into the normal human farmer's wife.
Peggy, you hear a chuckle in your ear and that familiar voice that says, "It's funny the skins we wear, isn't it?"
I just don't know where you got yours from.
Be careful now.
Well, I
I'd hate to
suppose
lose you.
We can tell the deputy that we didn't find nothing.
Well, ain't nothing to find anymore.
No, I suppose there isn't.
Now, did he go to heaven or did he go to hell?
Isn't that the question?
And am I going to get burned when I die? And can I request a gentler, higher flame?
You can request that I have no hand in taking you at all.
So I'm going to hell, it is, huh?
Preacher did give him his last rites, but seemed a little late for his absolution.
Elliott, you have a move called Destiny's Plaything.
That I do.
that sounds fun.
Since you found the body and all this has gone down, I think this would be a great time to roll weird and see if you learn something about your immediate future.
Yeah, that is a 6.
Oh boy, a 6.
Yeah.
Well, you do get a vision as your sight clouds over. And you can already tell it's not going to be a good vision because you see it's like you're in the dust storm. And you see it swirling around you. And you feel it like, well, it can't quite choke you. You feel a bandana on your face. But it's not so much the dust that's concerning as what is coming at you out of the dust is this figure. You can't really tell what the gender is. The clothes, it looks like it was once a duster, but it is tattered and flapping wildly in the wind. Black gloved hands with claws splitting through the fingers. And the face isn't so much a face as it's almost like it's human shaped, and it's like a hare's skull with the broken horns, and its mouth is open, and there are jagged teeth lunging right at you. And the vision ends.
You probably see me go like rigid for a moment, and then like go slack and kind of like a little wobbly kneed, and maybe like hit the floor on my floor, like sitting, basically just.
And as the vision ends, everyone can hear the sudden, distant howling of coyotes in the direction of the town.
I think storm's coming. Storm's whipping up. Should probably get after that thing. Figure it's probably hiding out and maybe making its way towards town or something.
Where's
it's
the
already
nearest
there, ain't it?
farm with horses?
Probably the Smiths. You pass them on the way up here, so they'd be willing. Everyone's neighborly. You're all trying to stay alive and take care of each other. They'd be willing to loan you 2 horses if you all want to share and ride into town.
Good that they're willing to loan it. I was just going to steal them.
I mean, you can do that too if you don't want to talk to them. So the windows are papered up; they can't see outside.
I'll leave him I'll catch him a groundhog or something, but yeah, the horses can ride out of town.
It's a good idea. So you have no trouble acquiring those horses and sharing whatever rides you want as you head into town. And I would say it's good timing because on the distant horizon, you can see the familiar, unwelcome sight of black clouds bringing the dust as you race towards the town. And I think this is a good point for a break. So we can hydrate, refresh, and get ready for the second part.
Woohoo!
Yay!
We'll be back in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Don't go anywhere.
See y'all soon. Live rabbit man screeches here on Live from the Apocalypse. A little BTS, a little behind the scenes for the folks watching at home, you know.
Anyway, that should be good Foley, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Absolutely. We're going to use that soundbite forever.
Yep, reaction sound bites. Haunt the
You
channel.
got that on the soundboard, right?
Yeah. Make a note to Will, add it on. Yeah, ready. Welcome back to We Gather the Dark, our Monster of the Week one-shot for Extra Life. We last left our very normal, totally not full of secrets group of farmers and vagrants, having just found the body of local banker at an abandoned farm. being hissed at by an unnatural rabbit with hair. Rabbits and hair is very different. Hares look like they've seen too much and are haunted by it, but they also don't care.
Yeah.
And they'll make it your problem. Hare with broken horns fought the corpse of said banker and have said several secrets about themselves revealed to each other. And now they are heading back to town to try to find this rabbit man, hare man, horned-haired man, as the dust storm is rolling in. We'll see how this goes for them. So...
We were borrowing some horses, if I remember.
Stealing for the moment, but repaying them later with some groundhog stew from the Smith farm.
I'm curious about how we're riding these horses. I'm definitely holding them saddles. Father Kane, if you want to be in front or behind, that's up to you, whether you're more comfortable gripping or like just letting me.
I think I will hold on to your waist and make that decision. That feels slightly more dignified than flopping around.
You don't want to ride like a kid? Like a little kid?
Kid in the bike basket.
Swing your little priest feet.
Yeah.
Priest feet. So is Peggy holding the reins, or is Elliott got that?
Probably Peggy, I feel like.
Peggy's probably a better horse rider than Elliott. Elliott's holding on. Like, I don't know about these horses.
Fair, you are used to trains after all.
You ride the rails, you don't ride the horses.
Exactly. I ride the iron horse.
Yeah.
But yep, you are
And
racing
these are regular
your way.
old flesh ones.
Normal flesh horses.
I hate those words.
What a normal thing to say. Normal flesh horse.
Horses.
I prefer these flesh horses.
Yes. All right. So the group is racing back to town to try to find the trail of the horned hare, since it seemed to have headed that way before, when it originally offed George Toller, and now it seems to be headed back that way again. Ominous, especially with the dust storm on the horizon. Not sure how many townspeople will make it back before the storm hits, but hopefully they are near farm buildings in the area they were searching. Doesn't seem like everyone was out and from the town, though, as there is a distant sound of gunshots as you approach the town.
Oh.
Ruh-roh.
Hey, Steph, can I ask an important question for where we are right now?
Yes.
How many luck points are you gifting us?
Oh, that is a good question. It's a one shot. Does 2 sound like a fair number? You can also do
Yeah.
2?
I think
Okay.
2 is a
Sounds like
great
a fair
number.
number.
I think 2, yeah.
2 hearts, 2 luck points.
Yeah. So everyone has 2 lucks.
Yeah.
And let's see. So yes, the gunshots seem to be coming from, let me find my notes so I make sure I say the correct title. Coldwater Inn, which you know is run by the married couple Fernando and Amada Reyes. They lived in the town for quite a while. They're a nice middle-aged couple, even though the inn doesn't really see much business these days. It is still there's a bar on the first floor where people can still gather and talk and sip very much watered down beverages for a small fee. Still a communal place, but there does seem to have been the gunshots from the Coldwater Inn.
Yeah. Hop off that horse. I'm sorry. Hop off that flesh horse. And head on in, gun in each hand. Now that I'm holding the bank. Actually, I turned to everybody. Says, got an extra pistol from George. Anybody need one?
Oh no, I'm a lousy shot.
Yeah, I guess your hands are your own weapons. And Father?
And Father Kane says, well, I appreciate the offer. I do not think that will be necessary. And he reaches up, and as he pulls his hand back, there is a sword materializing there.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something like, the Lord is my weapon, or something like that.
Huh?
The Lord is my weapon, but this makes a better visual representation, and the sword ignites into that same blue flame.
Oh, man.
3 guns for me, then, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are approaching the Coldwater Inn. Are you storming through the doors? Are you taking the stealth approach?
How are the windows boarded up?
They're
I'm
newspapered over,
Okay.
so you cannot see
We heard
inside.
gunshots in there.
Yep.
Angela's. Unless you're
Kicking
doing
down the
something,
door.
Elliott.
Elliott will stop and go.
I'm
I'm a
about
little. Let me go first. I can take a hit just in case. And Elliott will shoulder through the
All
door.
right. Angela
axe
has
in
guns
hand.
like over Elliott's shoulders, like right behind him.
All right, you enter the inn, and immediately you can see signs of a fight. There are tables and chairs overturned. The Reyes's keep a very, it's always dusty, but they keep an orderly establishment. The wind is picking up outside as the dust storm is growing closer and closer, and already the dust and dirt from the street is blowing in through the doors. You can't hear any more gunshots. You do hear sounds of clattering up the stairs. And if you head into the direction toward the stairs, you would find the familiar form of Fernando Reyes clutching his side, leaning against the railing where he's covering a wound that is bleeding. Not too heavily, but he looks roughed up. He's a middle-aged man. He's got curly hair that's starting to go gray at the temples. It is tousled, and he just looks frazzled. And he said, he's up there. Howie had him. Is this man in a duster, and he was up the stairs, and oh god, where's you need to find Amada. Is she still here? I told her to run.
We'll find her. And unless anyone stops Elliott, he's going to start banging up the stairs looking for Amada.
Additional question. Are there windows upstairs that we saw from the outside?
Oh yeah, there are windows upstairs.
Okay, I think that Peggy is going to sprout 2 large leathery wings and is going to fly up and crash through the upstairs window to come at them from the other side.
Let's go.
Pincer.
Alrighty. Yep.
Before we tackle what is going on upstairs, I would like to use lay on hands.
Oh, thank you. What a kind priest. Yes, please use lay on hands. So that is, yep, you roll for that.
Yep, plus cool. All right, that is a 10.
Awesome. You fully heal Fernando Reyes, who looks astonished and is like that you did this, and is just like, you really are close to God, Father. Thank you. I need to get up. I need to find Amada. Oh.
And as he moves away, just in that moment before Father Kane follows the others, he just says, well, I am close to my lord.
Fernando obviously doesn't notice that. He's more concerned with where his wife is at. So given that pincher move. Elliott going up the stairs towards the sounds. Peggy busting in the window where you can hear the noises. It would be in the probably the biggest hotel room they have, the suite, which is like not huge given the size of the town, but you would find like Deputy Howie just holding on to the arms of this figure in a duster with a wide-brimmed hat and bandana tied securely around the face where the strings of the hat go, so just kind of keeping it very obscured, and the duster is tattered and old. And there is there's a revolver on the ground, and Howie's revolver it's across the room having been knocked away, and he is holding this figure's by the wrist where he has the other gun trying to disarm him. It doesn't seem like it's going too well because it's not working, but he's also not able to shoot anyone else.
Since I was kind of up the stairs, would I be able to kind of mash myself into the melee and kind of take over for Howie to try to get this figure pinned?
Kind of like body check him out of the way.
Body check him and be like, all right, let me get this at least arm out of the way, or so it can't shoot any of us.
Yeah, you could definitely, I'd say, roll with tough on that.
Sure, I'm a tough.
Yeah,
I'm a tough guy. Yeah, new dice. We got some new dice. That's gonna be a 10.
Hell yeah, yeah,
nice.
Alrighty, so on a 10, you can pick an extra effect. You can gain advantage. So you can take a +1 forward or give that forward to another hunter. You can inflict terrible harm, suffer less harm, or force them where you want them.
I would like to give a forward to another hunter, and I'm going to give it to Miss Stone, to Angela.
Fine. Interesting.
Yes.
Angela runs in after Elliott, sees this being. What do I get? What am I feeling from Amos?
Amos is, you feel like kind of like frizzing and very much this is not right and not of nature in the way of kind of similar to what you were feeling with George, actually.
Gotcha.
Like when he started moving around.
Right. I think quietly she just asks Amos, just, Arlen, is this another puppet, or you think this is the puppeteer?
When you say puppet, Amos taps once as a yes.
Okay. Okay. In that case, I think she's gonna shout out at Elliott and say, "This looks like another one of them puppets, like George was. That means that hair's got to be around here, somewhere close. Are you all right in here by yourself, or should I tell the others to look for it?
Tell the others to look for it. We can handle this. Split up, 2 and 2. As I'm kind of struggling with my axe, trying to pin this thing against the pin, keep it away and from shooting people.
Is Peggy in the room? Like,
Peggy has smashed through the window.
Yeah.
Rat. Perfect timing. Peggy, we're looking for the also, wow, you have wings now. All right. Actually, that's very helpful. We need to find the hair. It has to be here somewhere nearby. Controlling this thing.
All right.
You and Father Kane work together. Find that hair. Well, and she shoots.
All right.
Yeah.
Father Kane can keep up with me.
I'm sure it'll be a sight to see. Yeah, just like
And I like to imagine that's the, like, just as Mrs. Hatchet is saying that is the moment that Father Kane walks in and he studies your wings for a moment and says, I think I can keep up just fine. And 2 wings burst from his shoulders in shades of white and black and
Wow.
gray.
Incredible.
I feel a little left out that I don't have bear wings.
I know, damn.
Howie is on the ground looking frozen and too stunned to speak. So.
I did, for kicks and ass for shooting, I did roll 2 6s, which is great. Oh wait, and I get a -1 because I'm not tough, but I do get a +1 because of Elliott. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a 12.
Hell yeah. And that was for kick some ass.
Yes, after I was speaking to Peggy, I just shot at the puppet.
Yeah, so you can, with a 12 plus, you get to pick an enhanced effect. You can give all hunters involved in the fight a +1 forward, suffer no harm at all, inflict double the normal harm, or your attack drives the enemy away in a rout.
I think I'll give everyone +1. Would that help with the searching as well?
I would let it use for the searching too.
Yeah, everybody gets a +1, I think.
Cheers.
I think that would help everyone. So.
Hell yeah. +12. All right.
And just like she just rushes over and like starts grabbing him like with to help Elliott.
Alrighty. Is awesome. Your gun definitely hits with the 12 plus, obviously. It hits. Was there a certain area you were aiming for?
I think maybe like leg. So that since he's grabbing the thing's arms, maybe leg will like make it easier to kind of tackle.
Yeah, I would say you could definitely get a kneecap in there. So it's definitely the puppet is off balance and stumbling, and there is dust falling out of the coat and the shirt. But again, there's also dust picking out outside as the storm is almost upon the town now. The wind is rising. You can still fly. It'll give you a bit of like a push, depending on what direction you're going in, but you're still able to fly in the storm.
Then in that case, yeah, Peggy's gonna dive out the window and try to read a bad situation on the ground.
Yeah. Righty, that is a sharp.
Ooh, I'm not. Ooh, does not matter.
Oh.
11 minus 1 is 10. That is still a full success.
Yeah,
hell
no,
yeah.
that is an awesome
does not
success.
matter in a good way.
Yep, that is. So it was a 10, you said?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that means you hold 3. So you can ask any of the questions. What's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victims?
Well, if I'm looking for the little jackalope thing, I'm going to say what's the biggest threat?
Yeah, for sure. That's a good use to have, since being so small, it is harder to see, but you kind of notice across the street in the direction of the church of St. Isidore and Maria, Church of the Laborers that the father preaches at. Across the roofs, you see a little dot of something like hopping, but as the dust swirls into the town, it starts getting bigger. Like, as it jumps, the jump gets higher, and the legs of the horned hare get longer, and then it lands, and its front paws are longer, and it launches up into the air, and its torso extends. And now you realize it's wearing a tattered duster, and it is more humanoid. And as it lands again, you see the head elongate and the fur recede into that skull. shape and the broken horn getting larger, and it is lunging from roof to roof in the direction of the church.
Then I think for my second one, I'm going to say, what's my best way in?
Best way in. Let me see. The good news is there's only like one main street in the town because it's such a small town. So you're at one end. It is like diagonally down from you as it's getting closer to the church. So best way in would say, let me see. It would be tricky to intercept, given the distance. Not impossible, but you could also, given that it seems like it is going towards the church, there is a bell tower, and since you have wings, if you wanted to like surprise attack it, you could go via the bell tower and get the drop on it on the inside.
Okay. I think I'll save my last hold.
Yeah.
And then yell to Father Kane. I'm gonna go in the bell tower, drive it into the church, and flap my wings and again fly out the window.
Hell yeah.
All right, Steph, will you, if you will allow this, Father Kane would like to take the opportunity to lay a trap.
Oh, I'm
and
interested.
Essentially be prepared to activate that the moment this creature goes into the church, because he has his own protections on that place.
Mm-hmm.
And he essentially wants to allow this creature to enter, but then activate those different wards so it can't exit.
I would say I'll let you do it. I want you to roll weird to see if it can be contained. Yes.
All right, that is... What is my... Okay, that is a 10, because I rolled 2 5s and my weird is a 0.
Shocking that your weird is a 0. Yeah, use magic on a 10. Yeah, works without issue. So, yep, you want to trap it, so it will be trapped in the church while it is in there. Yeah, once you activate, does it activate automatically, or once you say?
Once he sees the creature go inside, he will activate it, and if Mrs. Hatchet is going in through the bell tower, he is going to go in through the front doors.
Okay. Yeah, you see the the rabbit man, the giant, the jackalope, if you will, lunging towards the church doors and slamming into them, and it's scrabbling. They're not opening, which is weird. Unless did you lock the doors to the church when you left, or is it always open to the flock?
It's always open, and I think even more so, he would be looking to open those doors.
So you're
this
just
creature
saying open the fucking doors. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's weird because they seemed locked at first, but once you give the permission to open the doors give and it lunges inside.
And at that moment, he activates the trap around it, so it can't go anywhere else except for that main part of the church.
Okay, so not into the rectory or anything, just in the where mass is held.
Yep.
Okay. And suppose with Peggy, are you like at the bell tower?
Yeah, I think Peggy is going to alight just like on the top, the little platform at the top of the bell tower where there's the spiral staircase that goes up the spire there, and she is going to go down into the the back of the church.
Alrighty, so you are successfully stealthing your way in. The creature is trapped. You hear voices. You realize there's someone else. There's a woman in the church. You would recognize the voice as Amada Reyes. And as that's happening, I'm going to shift back to Elliott and Angela. Why are you shaking your head at me? Why are you shaking your head at me?
I don't like that. I had a question as soon
They're
as it was like
religious
she's
couple.
missing. I was like, oh, I hope that that's not a warning sign. But no, I don't like the fact that there is someone invading the church that I am in charge of.
Invading? There's a strange rabbit creature in her house. That is not of God. Where's she gonna go? We'll see what happens. Sure. What? So with Angela and Elliott, you are both tackling the problem of this puppet. Angela has taken out the knee. Elliott, is there anything you wanted to add to this fight? It is getting ready to like throw back at you.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like, axe kind of across this thing's body. I want to shove it away a little bit and then try to take off the arm, the hand arm that is currently holding the revolver. Disarm it, as it were.
Yeah, disarm it. Yeah, roll with, I believe, tough.
Mm-hmm. All right, that is going to be a 7.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Let's see. So it looks like you can inflict harm on each other. So you don't fully get the arm off. It's sort of a halfway situation. But hey, any little bit helps. So as you like swing and take the arm off, you hear this puppet inhale very deeply.
Mm-hmm.
And then sort of coughingly exhale. As it does, this like cloud of dust spews forth from under the bandana and starts like enveloping the area where you are, and it's getting in your eyes. And it almost seems to invite more of the dust storm outside into the room. You can feel the windows rattling, and the one broken window, there is now like dust filling up the room. So it is getting harder to see.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm just kind of surrounded by dust right now.
Yeah.
All right. Blech. Ah. Mm-hmm.
And with Elliott temporarily distracted, well, I'll let Angela go since the creature did just take a move. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. I got you. We're in like a bedroom, right? Like a suite, you said?
Yep.
Okay. Can I have a multi-tool?
I'll allow it.
Be rad. I want to just like rip the sheets off of the bed or like the blanket and just throw it onto the hole of the window. And screwdriver.
Start trying to like
whatever,
wedge
like
it into place.
Yeah, just kind of tuck it into place using the window frame, probably. Yeah, just to like at least like slow down the amount of black dust that's getting in here.
Let me see. Would that qualify act under pressure, you think? Or is it more like protect someone? If you're trying to help Elliott,
one.
You know, Howie's also in the room. So protect someone, I think act under pressure is cool. Nancy.
Protect someone is tough.
She's upset.
She's an idiot.
If I can choose, I would do act under pressure.
I'll let you do that. It is getting intense in that room.
It is getting a little intense in here. Ooh, key. What is my cool though? Scroll. It's +1. Okay, that is a 10.
Woo! Excellent. Yeah, you and accomplish that. You with your multi-tool and some of the debris. You can even take broken pieces of glass and just make dents and just wedge them in. It'll work for now, and then I'll even say, given what's going on, Howie will jump up to assist you and help hold the blanket steady. so you can like secure it in place. Oh, the room is, and everyone in it is coated in dust, but there's no more dust getting in the room.
Perfect.
So you can see better again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. And then I'll turn to Elliott, see what I can do to help. Get to pew pewing if I got to.
Yeah, the figure is looking rough. It is while Elliott is distracted, it is going to try to tackle you to the ground, and I will, for the sake of fairness, I will roll for that. See how it does. It gets a 7, so it's a partial success. So I will say it does lunge at Elliott, and it does knock you off your feet, but you can also get an attack in on it too.
All right. I will snap my axe out at it, just kind of wildly. Toughness. Okay. That is going to be another 7. So another
Nice.
trade.
That works. Since it was already trade, it evens it out. You take like the air like kind of crushes out of you as just the full weight of this like dead puppet just body weighs down on you to the floor. But you also get the axe swing in, and it is not going to be able to stand up again, but it's still moving. It's trying to get its one good hand like across your like nose and mouth.
Oh, kind of like
It's
we're grappling now. This is nasty.
Grappling, yeah.
Oh, grab a stone. Would you shoot it, please?
Right on it, Elliott. Yeah, just walk right, because it's on the floor, right? I'm just gonna walk right up, gun to the head.
Yeah. I will even say
this thing's dead, right? Yeah.
He's dead. You're not gonna kill it. You're just gonna put it out of use. But yeah, I will even say Amos kind of like slithers out a bit and just kind of tugs on its bad arm to give you a better shot to not shoot Elliott in the face too.
Thank you, darling.
Yep, and you headshot incapacitate the whoever this puppet was. And Howie's just kind of like, yeah, you can pull the blanket. I
think I would help push it off of Elliott first, so that Elliott can get up.
Yeah.
Thank you kindly, Miss Stone. Oh.
And I guess, excuse me. Excuse me. Wow, what are you screaming and rolling at me for? Oh my god. So angry. She is neglected.
I'm just glad she made a choice, because she was down here with a mouse in her mouth screaming at me because you are not here.
Well, now she's here and not getting petted, so she's making me feel like a monster.
Never been petted before. Never ever.
Never.
Peggy, what did your husband look like?
I think, yeah, Peggy's husband was broad, like, so actually kind of what I'm imagining is Vincent D'Onofrio from Men in Black.
Incredible.
Like,
I could never have predicted that exact string of words being what you would say.
Yeah.
Like, he's, kind of sweaty, kind of like disheveled a little bit.
Skin hanging off his bones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, poor Edgar.
Edgar Hatch. Yep, you see it is Mr. Hatchet, looking much worse for the wear, just dead on the ground, having been blown back into being with the strings off now. Just a regular corpse.
Oh. I think... Oh.
Lord.
Is that Mr. Hatchet?
Howie's just like, that looks like Mr. Hatchet. What got into that? Why does he look so bad? Is it... What's going on?
Howie, I advise you to just stay inside for the storm. There are some things your young eyes are just... It's just a little too much for you right now.
Yeah, the priest and Mrs. Hatch, and they got wings, and now he's helping to like rob the raises, and it's like, and then Fernando kind of like busts in the room and it's just like, she's not here. She must have gone to the church. What's Mr. Hatchet doing? Oh.
Two of you hunker down here. Father Kane and Mrs. Hatchet are going to the church. They're going to the church. We'll follow.
I could just leave my wife. She's in danger.
And she's with a priest and a very capable woman.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and okay, and the horned hair, the thief. It's there too.
Right.
And so are they.
We're gonna go help them take care of that.
Go help them. Just protect her, please.
You got it, Mr. Reyes. Start hustling.
Yeah.
Hi. Hello.
We bop our way over
We're
there.
in the finale, sweet girl. We'll give you so many pets after. Okay. Last hour, maybe. So you are racing through the dust. It's pushing you back. Yeah, just you're used to. You probably got your bandanas ready, just like holding some hats. If any of you had acquired goggles from Elliott's heart, since he likes to tinker, and also whip those out. But yeah, I suppose the priest. Oh, my dice.
No,
I need those. Father Kane. Also, where are you at in regards to getting to the church?
Father Kane has come in through the front doors. I think seeing that there was a moment where the doors weren't opening, he is looking for any sign of that. But he is preparing, sword raised, to face this creature since it is caught in this particular space in the church.
Right. So it's probably... You, as you get closer, so are you slipping in a different way, or are you going through the front doors, because this is your territory?
Through the front doors. This is my territory.
Yeah. So you probably get in similarly to the time Peggy is creeping down the bell tower, just kind of like with the wings, and if your claws are out, I imagine you can defy physics and kind of skitter along whatever ceiling you'd like to get the drop on it. But you can definitely hear... There is an exchange of words going on as you kind of peer out from above the area that leads into the bell tower. You can see this jackalope entity with the skull and just perched, like ready to like spring, it looks like, on the back of a pew, as Amada Reyes is like backing down the aisle with like a box in her hand. And you can hear an exchange of words where she's saying, "It doesn't belong to you. You can't have it." As the thing just kind of like snarls and snaps its teeth in its skull and just says, "You weren't strong enough to keep it. This is my right. I am strong enough to do what you could never have done. Look at you. You couldn't even survive the way you were before. You punished me. You bound me against my will. And you thought to just leave me in that state because I could do so much more than you could." And she just screams back at it, just almost in this like, this very old anger. And it's just like, "It was not yours to take. I will not give you the rest of what's mine." And it kind of laughs, and it's just like, "You may not be willing to, but you're definitely not going to bind me again, Amada. That's what you're calling yourself now, right, Amada?" And it jumps.
I am, I think from the running from the like chancel area. I'm going to try and defend her from its attack.
Hell yeah. So that is roll to protect someone, so that is with tough. Uh-oh.
It's a 2.
Oh!
Hey guys.
Okay. Well, it's the
Not
thought
even
that
a snake eyes. I'm
counts.
just very bad at tough.
Okay. It was a harvesting day. It was hard. Oh, let me see what happens.
I think you can just make a strong move.
Yeah, I would say. Is this where I want to use the bad stuff? I mean, it's already bad. We'll see what happens when the group is there. So you lunge down at it, and it seems like you're about to get the drop on it. But at the last second, it's like, you can almost imagine if it still had ears on the skull, since it's just a hairless skull, the ears would twitch. But it kind of cocks its head, and it whips its head back as it leaps. Well, in midair, it whips its head back and twists its body, in a way very much like hares do when they're springing, and clips you with its horn right across the collarbones. You take 1 harm as you miss it completely and probably land, if not in the aisles, then in the pews.
Let's see who lives, who dies, who we save.
And who we kiss.
Who we kill.
Can I kiss the long rabbit man? The long hair?
Absolutely not.
Certainly try.
We have to draw a line somewhere,
We don't
McMahon.
know this one in this house of God.
So lick horse is okay. Kiss hair,
Kiss-
not okay.
Correct.
Kiss
No.
hair.
I mean, you know what? Earlier today in the house on Ashtree Lane, I had to tell everyone that the first thing everyone asked me is, can I roll to seduce the house?
Maybe, no, some people might be into Eldritch Geometry as a paramour. Who knows? Who are we to king shame?
Oh no, everyone was.
This house is making me feel away.
I feel a certain way. God. Alrighty. Welcome back, everyone. Sorry for the brief cliffhanger, but last we left off, Peggy was taking us trying to get the drop on the jackalope freak, and sadly the dice told a different story. So Peggy has taken 1 harm in the house of God, or whoever it is this priest worships. Might not even be the house of the Lord anymore. Who knows what Father Kane is up to? But the jackalope man has twisted midair, landed not on top of Amana. She has run back behind the altar and she's not reaching for any of the holy relics. It seems like she kind of is like, that's not going to help me right now. But Peggy is now bleeding, facing the jackalope man.
Father Kane is going to say to Amada, you can go to my quarters, child. You'll be safe there for the moment.
Thank you, Father. She clocks wings, seems surprised, not as surprised as a person would be. Compared to Howie and Fernando, not as surprised. But do you keep your rectory door unlocked? That sounded wrong.
Uh-oh.
Why do they call it a rectory? Do you keep your quarters unlocked, or do you toss her a key?
I mean, the answer is that, yes, the door is locked, but he does not toss her a key. He just snaps his fingers, and it unlocks.
She very quickly books it to your quarters. And the jackalope man just kind of clocks out. It's just why would you get in the middle of this?
Oh, I am not looking to get into the middle of this. I would like to understand what is going on, particularly since you are conducting this business in a place of worship?
Well, if you send Amada outside, I won't need to conduct my business in your place of worship, Father.
And how many people in this town will become collateral damage? We already found one body. Well, two, I suppose.
Oh my god, Nancy. Don't scream. Great response to a body. Cat starts screaming. If the jackalope still had skin on the skull, you'd probably be smiling. You get the vibe of a smile, which is really not comforting given the giant rabbit skull with teeth. And it's just like, George Toller was a man who did not mind his business. What was I supposed to do? Not defend myself? If no one bothers me, no one will get hurt, and maybe I'll be feeling merciful. Maybe they'll just get a little maiming. Just send Amada outside.
Well, there's one more problem with that. See, there's a strict no competition clause in my deal.
And what happens if you fail to enforce that clause? Do you
I'd
lose your
rather not
soul?
find
Or is that
out.
already gone?
You know? Didn't specify. Didn't need to. Because I'm not going to. And I think, despite not learning anything from last time, she is going to try and kick some ass.
Do it!
Right.
Oh no.
4.
Okay. Well, that's not a deal. Yeah, you go to kick some ass, and as you lunge for it, the jackalope man jumps up, and you realize now the legs are not quite human legs, they're more hair legs, as you find out as it jumps and midair kicks you in the chest and sends you flying across the church.
Ooh. How much harm do I take from that?
I will say 1 harm from that. How much harm are you at?
Oh, I've only taken 2 so far, I believe.
Okay, so now you're at 3 harm. I'm doing the math right, which how many harm can we take? Okay, good to know. So we're getting over that threshold real soon. Okay. So yes, Peggy goes flying, and you can hear definitely something crunched. Was it maybe a wing? Maybe your wings took more of the impact, so it didn't hit your ribs quite as hard. But some muscle or bone just definitely is not doing what it should be anymore. Maybe it's just out of alignment or like took a fracture, but there's definitely pain in that area as you slide down to the floor. And the jackalope man just kind of swings his head back at the priest.
You know, I think this would all go more smoothly if you explained what's going on. What was that about being bound?
Oh, Amada? She bound me in a cave. Part of my skin. Buried it under the ground, and if it wasn't for the dust storms, I'd still be trapped miles away, miles and miles away in a cave, twiddling my paws. In the dark.
What was she holding in that box?
What is that?
Yeah,
any of your
just
business?
fucking grip it and rip it, baby.
Thank you
Slop
for the
that down,
donation.
dude.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
dude, crack one for the big boy.
From
Well, if
behind.
what you're looking for is in that box, perhaps I could get it back for you. I do not exactly like the sound of someone else being bound, trapped in a place that they have no control over. You perhaps have my sympathy.
I had a feeling you weren't that much of a holy man. But no, get the box from her. Give it to me. I'll be on my way.
What is inside that box and what will happen when you have it? And I will roll to manipulate.
Do it. Let's see what you get.
Got +1 to that roll,
Hell yeah.
which
That's
is
a
a
charm.
10.
Hey!
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
See.
Hello, Raiders. Welcome.
Hi, Roxanne's. Hey, April.
Hello.
Hey! Welcome to our Monster of the Week one-shot. We gather the dark, just a bunch of farmers and vagrants in the Great Depression Dust Bowl fighting a jackalope man in their town during a dust storm. Final confrontation in the House of God. Or something. Whatever the priest has done to it. We don't know. He redecorated.
House of something.
House of something. House of something.
House of Leaves.
Whoa!
It's actually the same game. We never finished the last
actually-
game. We
Yeah,
just
we were just-
transferred directly into this.
Time is a lie.
This
They're
is
just in the
happening inside
basement.
one of the rooms
Yeah,
in
exactly.
the house.
It's happening in
Each
one of
house
the
is a story.
footnotes.
Yeah, just turn it to like, oh, okay. So on a 10, the jackalope man just kind of snaps his teeth in annoyance, tosses his head. It's just like, it's the rest of my horn, okay? It's the rest of my horn. I need it to be fully myself again.
Didn't answer the second half of my question. What happens when you are yourself once again?
I mean, technically becoming myself again is an answer to that question. But if you want a little more detail, I will no longer be restricted to the dust. Something about the dust messing with my bindings means I can't get out of that tiny little form unless there is a dust storm around. So see, when I have my full self back, I can shift between the two. And I'll leave your little town to whatever you have planned for it, or whatever the farm lady's patron has planned for it.
Mrs. Hatchet, what do you think?
Peggy is going to struggle to her feet, and I am going to use my unquenchable vitality.
Ooh.
So that is a 7. So I heal 1 harm, and you see the wounds starting to knit back together.
Yeah.
And she is going to lean up against one of the pews and say, "Let's see what I think." And then on the pew.
And I will say, for cinematic purposes, this is perfect time for Angela and Elliott to catch up to the church and walk in and see this exchange. Now, given the patron JD, does Father Kane allow them into the church? Would they have any issue getting into the church?
Now,
You feel someone tapping back after Peggy
what
walked.
is the sense I get of this being?
You get an infernal sense. Probably familiar to you. Smell of coal fire.
Father Kane allows this.
And sure, initially you think, oh, they might be coming through the doors, but no, that's Angela and Elliott busting their way through dust, kind of like coming in after them. They're just covered in it. It's more from out of the bell tower on the balcony overlooking the church walks a figure in a bowler hat. Pinstripe suit is a little more silvery. The goatee almost seems like ink black now, and the eyes are just kind of almost like flame burning, and just kind of leans over the railing, crossing their wrists, just like, my Peggy, you were always one I knew I could count on. Well done.
Suppose this is the stranger you were thinking of?
This does have that scent of wrongness that was itching at the back of my skull. And the jackalope man just kind of like cranes its neck too far back and looks up at your patron and is just like, I have no quarrel with you. This is your land. I'm just passing through once I get what's mine. I meant no offense to you for the rest of our kind. And your patron just kind of like barks out a laugh and just like, our kind? Oh, that's a bold statement. You're not one of our kind, and I don't just mean the devils.
All right.
That's why you feel so wrong.
Well, I think I've heard enough, preacher. How about you?
Suppose that depends on what outcome you're leaning towards. We might have a difference of opinion.
Devils are just fallen angels, right? So that's within the natural order of things. Something outside of that, I don't think I want to be too friendly toward it.
And what about you, Miss Stone? I think just like turning directly to Angela as she's doing that. What do you think, Miss Stone? And what do you think, Mr. Maxwell?
I think there's all sorts of strange beings here under this roof. Some of them from heaven, some of them from hell, some of them perhaps in between. We all have our reasons for being here and our reasons for wanting to stay. I just want to know a little more about their reason. And I want to roll monstrous or monster empathy.
Ooh. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I want to figure out this Harriman desires.
That's so wrong. Harriman's desires.
Harriman's desires. That's plus charm, which is a I think my charm is +1 or +2. It's +2, so that's gonna be That's gonna be a 10.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
All right, where is that on the sheet?
It says on a 10, hold 2. So I can ask, what does it most desire? What would it accept as good enough for now? And what would distract it? I'm probably going to go with, at first, what does it most desire?
For the jackalope man.
Yeah. And I have like one gun pointed at the jackalope. Yeah, just in case.
Yeah, of course.
And one just kind of in the vague, like,
just anyone else moves.
Calm down.
So I imagine how it works is you're trying to get a deeper understanding of the jackalope man, and you feel Amos.
I guess kind of like it created these puppets, potentially first killed people and then made puppets out of them. Was it doing that because it was backed into a corner, or was it doing that because this is like a malicious creature?
So you feel Amos kind of like creep the shadow, just creep over your skin and just kind of like cover your eyes. You can obviously still like see through the hands because Amos is a shadow, but your eyes can also see almost like into the jackalope man, and it makes your eyes burn because it's like, this is not right. And you get a bit of like, it's a bit malicious, yes, but also a sense of desperation because what it was saying to the priest, I'm not at my full power, I was bound. But if you poke at the what is this wrongness, Amos seems to be kind of poking at it and poking at it. And you see, it's like when you put like two images on top of each other and it's just all like a blurred like mess and they obviously don't go together. You see like the jackalope frame distorted on top of the frame of a normal man. Like, and you're getting a sense of like, what does that mean? And then it's almost kind of Amos just kind of like nudging you, of like encouraging that line of thought. And it's just like, he wasn't always a jackalope man. He was just a man. And as you're looking at it, you start seeing these almost glowing little symbols in the jackalope frame, almost like a cult-like in a way.
Interesting. Okay. A gun still pointed at Harriman. I say, you're asking to be whole again. Is that the hare or the man asking?
One and the same, of course.
You weren't always together.
But I am now. Oh, why are you look so panicked?
Oh,
JD.
I hate being on this side of it.
Don't you? Isn't it fun, JD? Aren't you having a great time being on this side? Aren't you? From behind you, JD, you hear Amada's voice as she is peering out from the doorway, and she just says, "It was my skin, not yours." This is my horn. You stole it from me. You made me human. So you could be this thing and you're not getting it back.
Oh, well, that is a different story entirely.
Yeah.
And the jackalope man hisses. And I will say, this is a great time to use that bad stuff someone had redeemed, and lunges towards the doorway right at Elliott.
Elliott?
Knock you both into the dust storm.
Oh,
Kind of like that vision you saw.
I was going to say, it can't get through that because of the trap.
So they bang into the trap because it's not letting go of Elliott. So how much harm are you at?
So I've been taking 1 harm consistently, but I have armor 2 against harm, so I'm at 0 net.
Okay. So, because I was going to say, with the force of that impact, because it wasn't thinking of not getting through the barrier, and it's got strong legs because it jumped. You take 2 harm from that, and you can just kind of feel some rips, crack. Definitely not to the point poor George's did, but it was close. You definitely feel like this would be bad, and just the jackalope man is on top of you and digging his claws in, and just is like, open this door, father. Get me the box, and I'll be on my way.
Elliott will say from underneath it, do not open the... Father, don't open the door. It's stuck on me. This is our chance to split it up or get rid of it or whatever.
I hope this isn't the reason, Mr. Maxwell, that you are not in my vision of the end of days. And then I'm going to swing my sword at the jackalope.
Oh, let's go!
Yeah.
So rolling with tough.
Oh, tough.
What do I have in tough?
You have luck? Does luck help?
It does. It does. Oh, actually, I have a lot in tough, so that's fine. That's a 9.
Okay. What are you worried about? That's a big success.
For some reason, I thought I had a negative in tough, but I do not.
I mean, usually your characters do, but that's okay.
Wow.
What? You play a type. I know your type. Okay, on a 9. Yeah, you swing at Jackalope Man. Thankfully, you do not hit Elliott with the sword either. You swing and carve the burning sword right down diagonally from shoulder to hip, and the Jackalope Man screams and whips his head around with that skull and just chomps his teeth into your shoulder, so you take 1 harm from that.
Cool. It takes 3 harm from Holy Fire.
Oh, yeah! Loaded! Holy Fire, yeah, that's definitely singeing.
Yeah. I think 1 gun was at the jackalope and 1 gun was at the general area. I think both turn. And yeah, I start blasting.
Hell yeah. Roll to start blasting.
Okay, 8, but minus something. My tough is not. Oh, it's only -1. Okay, so that's what, 7? Yes. 6 to -1 is 7. Okay, there we go. I can do basic math.
Let's get some ass on tough. So 7. So yeah, you hit it. It does another point of harm. So it's taken 4 harm so far. In response to that, it like crunches a little harder down on Father Kane's shoulder. You can definitely hear the feel the bones shift in a not fun way, and then like releases you and kind of pushing you back as it does so, and then it lifts Elliott up and throws him at you. Sorry, Elliott.
Whatever.
I was trying to help. Incredible. Well, Elliott, you're safe in my arms, my friend.
And the Jackalope Man gives a big jump up high to the rafters.
Great.
Peggy is going to fly up to the rafters, and I don't think it's even like try to fight it. She is just going to try to grab, like claw at it, and then like Peregrine Falcon dive bomb.
Hell yeah.
Do it. I guess that would be kick some ass.
Oh no.
It's a 4 again.
You do have luck.
I think I'll use luck because it's not even that it's -1. I have rolled a failure on the dice for every kick some ass roll.
Okay, but on
Yeah.
the plus side, you're probably almost to like a level up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
which like unprecedented leveling up in the midst of a one shot.
I think if I didn't use luck, I would be leveling up, but I think I am gonna use luck on this
Yeah.
one.
If you would like, while you're using luck, if you want to attack it, try attacking it with magic instead. I will also allow that. Or you can just reroll. It's up to you.
I have a magical force weapon as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think as it's up in the rafters and she waves her hand and pulls it with this like magical force off balance and then brings it down into the sanctuary.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you send that blast through, and does it work automatically? Oh yeah, because
It
luck.
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Luck is an automatic success. So the force of it definitely catches it off guard, and it flings very hard from the rafters and lands smack in the middle of the altar, scattering whatever the father had left as relics up there. And you just hear a crunch as it takes, let's see, with that, I'll give it 2 more harm. And it just kind of like rolls, and it's not bending right, and you can hear its breath hissing out between the teeth, but also you can see like almost like kind of like the skull has cracked a bit, and you can almost see what you think is like skin underneath.
As it starts to rise up, Elliott will disentangle himself from Angela and kind of grab his axe with both hands and kind of rear it back. So one of the things I've tagged on the business end is throwable.
Ooh!
So this is the close tag. So Elliott is going to lean back and huck this axe kind of hand over head. It seems to fly unnaturally smoothly for a rather heavy weapon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
All right. I'm going to spend one of my own luck points to turn that into a 12.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so with a 12.
3 harm magic on that weapon.
Ooh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so how do you describe Elliott finishing off this creature with that move on the altar?
So Elliott rises up and kind of rears back and closes his eyes for a moment. It seems to shift a step and lets it fly and starts spinning end over end. You think it's maybe the blunt end is going to hit, but then the blade kind of rotates around, and where you start to see that exposed skin under the skull, the axe is going to kind of whirl, and the blade's going to hit the exposed skin and just bury itself deep into that. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. And you feel, as much as you hear that crunch, as the body just kind of like shivers and collapses, and as it falls, the jackalope skin kind of like peels away, and there's just this figure of young man, very pale, like he hasn't seen the sun in so long, which would make sense, and just the skin falls away as he falls and slides off, smearing blood all over the altar and across the floor.
Sorry about the altar, Father. Didn't mean to get blood all over it.
No need to apologize, Mr. Maxwell. Blood can be cleaned.
Just hear the slow. Peggy! You always know how to keep it entertaining. Congratulations. Good work. That was fast work. I came to you just earlier today, and a few hours later, all done.
Right. I hope you're satisfied for a while, then.
Oh, I love having interlopers taken care of. It means I have less to do, less to worry about up here. Less to deal with. It's more me time. More time for me and my hobbies. This is gonna keep me cool and calm for quite a while.
Well, then, I'm glad I could be a convenience for you.
Oh, don't be so sour, Peggy. We had an understanding. This is just part of that understanding. It wasn't that hard. It didn't even take a whole day.
Nothing in the contract that said I couldn't give you lip.
Fair point. That one's on me. Well, thank you. Tips the hat to the rest of you for keeping me a very entertaining end of the day. And looks like the storm's starting to ease up out there.
Well, and Elliott will kind of walk up to the altar and kind of plant his foot in this thing and yank his axe out. Well, and he'll kind of look out the doors and get a little bit of a faraway look in his eyes. Well, the storm's letting up, and this is... Perhaps we can have a drink over at the cold water, because I don't think I'm going to be here on the morrow.
How come?
Just, I had a sense of where I'm needed, and don't think I'm needed here anymore, but there's another Ruddy Ridge somewhere.
How is Reyes doing? How's she holding up?
Amada has prepped forward now that it seems like everything's situated. She's not getting close to where Peggy's patron is because she don't want that smoke. So,
Yeah.
but she's just kind of like leaning over the corpse of the once jackalope man, now just a dead man, and she just kind of like looks at him and just. It looks almost like she wants to like. No, she does. She like gives him a solid kick right in the head, and then she just kind of like quietly goes over and just very gingerly picks up the distorted, runic covered jackalope skin that once was hers.
Amada, you don't plan on doing anything malicious with that.
She just kind of gives a little laugh and she's like, it wouldn't fit me anymore after what he had to do to it to make it fit him. But I've been human for decades now, and I have a husband who loves me, and I have a town where at the end of the day I am still alive and breathing in, even though you may not have set out to do it for me. I think I see no reason to exchange what I've gained for what I've lost. I was just going to burn it so that no one else can use it, and so I won't be tempted to try to fit back into it.
You want some company with that?
I won't say no to company, and I imagine people, after they've come back from taking shelter, may want to drink at the inn as well. No, I'm going to need one that's less watered down than usual, which I'm welcome to share with all of you for what you've done for me.
Well, I always got groundhog tea over at mine. And I can tell you that is smooth as butter.
Could I get a sip of that groundhog tea before I go? Just
I'm intrigued
Absolutely.
by
I'll make
this.
sure to get you a pack before you go. Gotta keep, keep them food on you.
Pack of groundhogs?
You dry it like jerky.
Well, you can dry, you can make it a loaf, you can make it stew, you can make it, there's this new thing I heard from out west called groundhog sushi. That's new. I don't know about that one.
Is that a California thing?
I think so.
Don't know California, but you're all welcome to have a slightly stronger drink tonight on me. While you guys are having this exchange, Peggy's patron has gone over to the jackalope man's body to take it away. Unless anyone else is going to have a say in that. I wasn't sure if Father Kane might have opinions.
Sure.
All right.
Boy, did you learn a lot about groundhogs.
You're learning so much about groundhog and their meats. Yep.
It is horrifying.
Yep.
So you had asked if Father Kane would take exception to Peggy's patron moving towards the jackalope's body. He'd walk over. What are you planning on doing with them?
Taking it. Well, no one else is going to take them.
I could.
For your patron? Or for personnel preferences?
So I do have to ask, Steph.
Yeah.
Where does Peggy's patron rank on the hierarchy?
That's a great question, given the hierarchy of hell. Not bottom tier, but probably around where a crossroads demon would rank, somewhere in the middle.
Well, you ask if it would be for my patron. I am pretty sure that if you are taking this body for yourself, my patron is also your patron. So I think either this body is going to the same place, or you are getting greedy.
Me? Greedy? Such an assumption, Father. Everybody's got to eat, and this is a small town.
And are you famished?
Isn't everyone famished in these times? Well, I guess it depends.
You do what you will do. I am certainly not starving. My needs are met.
I expect they are, Father. Kane, though? Really? You didn't think that was a little on the nose?
What can I say? Sometimes people ignore what is right there in plain sight.
Well, much obliged. I suppose I'll be seeing you when I see you, Father. Peggy, always a pleasure.
Likewise.
Just gives a little, bow, hefts that body up under one arm like it weighs nothing, and just walks past the altar, and it's like he's walked through a door, gone.
Well, shall we have some groundhog tea?
Here I was
I'll pull out
hoping
the good
whiskey.
glasses.
Sounds delicious.
I suppose this group of unlikely but effective heroes follow Amada back to the Coldwater Inn, where they get, well, is first acquiring some groundhog tea from Angela's stores.
Mhm.
And they have a very...
It's like kombucha. You ever had kombucha before?
What's kombucha?
Kinda
Never mind, that's it. We're
fermented.
ending the stream right here.
You ferment it in a bottle for several months, get it nice and crispy.
Speckled groundhog?
Damn, that shit'll change your life. It'll change your life.
Take your word for it.
Angela is the
I
OG.
regret everything right now.
Listen, it's for the children. All right, that's the most important thing. Groundhog kombucha is for the children.
Oh,
For the children.
for the children. And that is how we end the night, with the
Absolutely.
current evil defeated, potentially new alliances made, potentially everyone alive except the pain in the ass and, well, the banker, and then having to explain to Peggy why her dead husband's corpse is upstairs. But there's alcohol for that. And the town, though dust covered, is safe for another night.
Yay!
Thank you all. I'm amazed we ended on time. That never happens. Thank you so much. You guys were awesome. I hope you had fun. This was very fun to run, and all of your choices and characters are amazing.
It was very fun to play in.
Oh yeah, it's really late for you, Raph. Thank you for staying with us.
It's midnight. Oh no. Thank you.
No, it's not. It's only 11.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's right, because of the
That's
time change.
Well, then never mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It's not late.
Yeah. In that case,
But
Party
yes,
on, so.
let's let everyone go around, remind you of who they are, the cool things that they're doing, and we'll kick things off with one of the people who over this weekend has made their first appearance on this channel. McMahon, you are up first.
Hi, it's me. I'm Chris McMahon. I'm not really doing anything cool. I'm healing from a broken leg, so send me positive vibes. I have plates and a screw in my leg now.
We are sending you all of the positive vibes.
All positive vibes.
We would like to see you in more things, though. We will have to get you back for Hasmus.
Sure. I mean, I love it's the time of year. I'll be around. Would love to come back.
And speaking of someone we keep convincing to come back to join us for these chaotic one-shots and sometimes run them, Aaron, you are up next.
Hi, I'm Aaron. You can find me wherever I want to be found as Veil's Edge Games. I occasionally do actual play, and then I also design games on itch.
And you have some really cool games that I feel like deserve to be highlighted, so definitely check them out, especially if you're into Fallen London and games like that. All right, Raph, you are up next.
Hey, I'm Raph. In 2 weeks, Yeah, I'll be back here. Same darn chant. What is it? I don't remember the saying. I'll be here. With LFTA. Back at it again. I was here yesterday, class reunion. 2 weeks, we'll be here again, class reunion. Stabbing the immortality out of a vampire. So, you know, everything's good. It's a hoot and a holler, and I hope you all had a good time tonight. Thank you to everyone who donated and sending good vibes to Chris's leg.
Absolutely. And, you know, everything's coming up Ryan Beckinsale.
Don't you fucking say that name to me right now. This is not the time.
And I am not going to plug everything that I am doing because it has been a long day, but I am JD. I am one of the organizers for LFTA, as well as one of the storytellers and players. And thank you all for the people who ran games over this weekend. Thank you to all of the players in those games. Thank you to all who showed up in chat, and thank you to everyone who donated. I'll toss it over to Steph, and then we'll look to take us out and find someone to raid.
Hi, I'm Steph. I've been the storyteller for the second time on this channel. Thank you all for watching and having fun with us playing this not spur of the moment. I made this idea several months ago and everyone poked me into doing it. And I'm very happy with how it turned out and what everyone brought to the table. So thank you for watching. Thank you for donating. Thank you for having fun with us. And if you want to see me in any more stuff, you can catch me at Live from the Apocalypse every other Thursday for JD's horror psychological horror game Redacted, So Many Ghosts in These People on Ghost Island, or every other Tuesday at Entropy Emporium in JD's horror masks game They Call Us Villains, where I'm just a little doom with superior teeth and nothing can go wrong ever in her life.
And we will eventually see both you and Raph, as well as others, back for our 8-table Regency Monster Hearts game, A Season of Secrets and Shadows, which I have been bullied into running a 4th season of, and that will happen sometime next year, because I cannot do that until I've had a chance to rest.
Yeah, of course. It's too much chaos.
It's a lot of chaos.
Thank you all. I have not found someone to raid, but I will figure that out once I take us to the thanks for watching screen. LFTA will be back on Tuesday for Nephilim Tenebris to give a distraction from any other events that might be going on that day. Additionally, if you would like to follow us, those are all of our socials, so please come join our Discord, follow us on all of the cursed and non-cursed social media platforms that we are on. That's where you will find out about our next games. And like we teased a few times during the last couple of games, we are going to be building up towards another event happening in December. So if you want to see that casting call when it comes up, if you want to join on the GM side, join our Discord and you'll have a chance to experience that. But for now, I'm going to ask everyone to say good night, cast.
Good night, cast.
Good night, cast.
Good night, guys.
Good night.